Let me
No,
get
it's been
that
a hot
down.
minute. It's been a hot minute.
It
We get
has.
quite a few requests for the old Books of Blood to come back.
I know. I've got to get back to because yeah, and I love that series too. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed doing it.
likewise.
I need to get back to it,
Likewise.
but
It is it's one of those that people just it's classic. There's always Barker stuff on my channel. So people
yeah,
what I find really interesting is like I keep getting people asking for the Barker retrospective to come back and I'm like, with what? I've done everything. You know, I've
yeah.
literally done everything out there. There's very, very little that I haven't spoken about. Um, I suppose I could rehash them.
Well, I guess you could, or maybe it's just a question of like putting it all into a playlist, right? Like so that people can get to it, and maybe setting it up so it runs in I don't know order of publication.
Yes, I suppose I
I
could do that.
suppose it's
I
that
suppose I
kind of
could
bit.
do
Like you
that.
say, you've done the work,
I've
right?
done
It's
it.
there.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know, including the really weird, obscure stuff, the Infernal Parade and the Tortured Souls Tales of Primordia. You know, the one he wrote to go with the toy line, the Tortured Souls
Oh,
toy
okay.
line with by Todd McFarlane.
Sure.
That now, if you want obscure and very hard to get a hold of these days, by the way, those two books may be the most expensive in my entire collection.
Right.
They are very
Yeah.
hard to get. Little, tiny little hardbacks they are, and they're beautiful. They're really, really good, but they are hard to get a hold of these
Sure.
days, which is a shame because Tales of Primordia, the one that centers around the Tortured Souls toy line, actually really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, genuinely good. It's one of those where I wish he'd written more in it.
Mm.
I think it could have. It
It,
has real legs. I think it could have been spectacular.
sure. He just, I don't know, man. When Barker was in his Imperial phase, just the sheer, even the quote unquote lesser works, man. Just
Oh,
the sheer like power of the ideas.
it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm
Just
going through
extraordinary.
it at the moment as part of my annual reread, but also for my life in horror because I'm doing. I've just finished the first draft of a Weaveworld um, article, which is huge. That needs editing because I
Yeah,
just went to town on it and explored everything that came to mind, the themes, the just everything about it. Because I
sure.
couldn't shut up about it.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I think we've was one of those subjects once. I mean, we've regular
Mm,
listeners will have heard us talk about it
absolutely.
on several occasions.
Yep.
I don't think we've ever. I can't even remember if we've. I know we have done a dedicated episode, but it's
Oh
cropped up
yeah.
in other contexts as well because
It has. It
it's
has.
just one of those texts. It's incredibly rich.
Oh my god. I mean, so familiar with it, but rereading it again for some reason, this year's reread was really powerful.
Right.
Really powerful. I don't know
Okay, that's
why.
interesting. Yeah.
Um, I think it is again. It's contrasting what's going on in waking life. There is a wonder, despite all. I mean, and the horror in that book is really dense. There is like a in certain aspects there is a kind of nihilism to it. Like it powerfully mistrusts systems,
Mm,
politics, history, all of that stuff. Insofar as Barker is concerned, is moribund and garbage, and he's going to kill us. That seems to be what the book is saying. But
sure.
there is opposed to that is this incredible celebration of human imagination and connection, which is profoundly positive. The book is ultimately a celebration and a rallying cry and a love letter to human
Yeah.
imagination. Um, and it's beautiful. I mean, I always come away from it really shaken, really profoundly but positively shaken.
I mean, that's the thing I love about it is it is ultimately energizing, isn't it? It is
Yeah,
ultimately positive, and it has the kind of I think it has a kind of ending that it's most writers would shy away from because the ending implies actually transformational change for everything, and
yeah.
most writers will. For whatever reason, I wouldn't necessarily ascribe a negative motive to it, but there's an instinct to return to status quo, right?
Always, right? And I think that for Weaveworld is very deliberate because
Oh yeah,
it's so transgressive. So much of this fiction that Barker is kind of in the tradition of with Weaveworld, like the Chronicles of Narnia, for example. What ultimately in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, they have this incredible adventure, then they go back and they tumble out of the wardrobe and they're kids again, and suddenly everything's returned to status quo. And I think he's reacting against that. He's reacting
Yeah.
against that inclination. From what I you know, I don't. This could be just Barker's influence, considering that I read him so young. But I totally accord with that. If fantasy is for anything, it's to be transgressive, and
Yeah.
you don't be transgressive by returning everything to status quo. There's always this thing in fantasy where characters move from the waking world into some sort of fantastical world where they come back. And for me, that's death. That's like, why?
Mm,
You know? And
yeah.
suddenly they pick up a life again in this world. And I'm like, well, why? How would you even survive that? And you know what? I want to write that story where it starts with someone, tumbling out of the wardrobe, as it were, coming back from their
Sure.
escapade in the fantasy world and not being able to cope.
Yeah.
Not being able to cope with living in this world again. I think that would be amazing. That would be really interesting to write, actually.
Yeah, I think you. It would- I mean, it's interesting. I've been thinking about as you were talking. I mean, it is funny enough. It is one of the things that I think the writers of New Who are really bothered about because they keep worrying at it. They keep worrying at like what happens to the companions after they return from traveling with the Doctor. Because that's a portal to fairy, right? The TARDIS is a portal to fairy.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what happens to them when they come back?
Once they got it right with Bill. They got it right with Bill,
yeah.
where she literally transforms into something else. That is the only sane path for someone who's travelled in the TARDIS.
I mean, it is that, or it is someone. I still think there's a version of it which they haven't done. I think they kind of tried to do it with Martha, and it only partly landed because they'd complicated it with the kind of romance subplot with her. But where she just sort of said, "Actually, no, I've had enough," and I just and that could work too, right? Yeah. That's possible at least. Like I say, I think they muddied the landing a little because they had other things going on there. But I think, I kind of. It's an interesting one because they clearly are bothered by it, and Russell in particular is clearly bothered by it because he keeps feeling like he keeps writing stuff to try and correct what he realizes now we're writing mistakes, right? I mean, that's why we ended up getting Catherine Tate back, because it was like, that sucked. I need to fix that kind of thing. Absolutely. And I don't mind that impulse, by the way. That's that's healthy, but
I get that. I mean, one of the big issues with New Who it is whenever it crops up, and it crops up consistently, almost every single one of the new Doctors has done this at some point, where they start talking about how, oh, this is miraculous, oh, chips on a Saturday night, and it's like, fuck off. Stop telling us what we know isn't true.
Yeah.
We know it's not true because we're watching Doctor Who. Right?
Yeah.
Why do you watch this kind of fiction? Why do you absorb this kind of fiction? It's for demonstration of something that is not this. That is not the status quo. Yeah? That insistence, it just annoys me. It gets on my nerves because for one thing, it's a lie. It's just not true. And I don't think the story writers believe it either. I think it's insincere. But also, why would the Doctor the Doctor is a fine one to talk about that.
Sure.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
They're a fine one to talk about that. They never go home.
It's the ultimate do as I say, not as I do, right?
I do. Exactly that. And like some of the in the hands of better writers, I think it could be interesting. It could be like an interesting sticking point.
But I don't, and I think the problem is, and I guess it's because it's quote unquote family entertainment, which means you have to have at least one eye on the kids and you don't want to be traumatizing anyone, which I get. But like, I think the show's at its best for me when it deals head on with the like super harsh reality, like the Doctor's functionally immortal and humans aren't, and that's
exactly
it.
That. Right. And
like, just deal with that. Just deal with the mortality of that.
When it explores the alienness of the Doctor, that I find very interesting. Because I've always had it in my mind, like, the Master is a more sincere Time Lord than the Doctor is. The Master gets it. The Master understands. The universe is a playground for the Time Lords. It's a playground. What does consequence matter to a Time Lord? The Doctor himself has reset reality multiple times, right?
I mean, it's interesting, though, isn't it? Because if you think about the way Time Lord Society has been portrayed, especially in Classic Who, but actually quite clearly in the New Who stuff as well, and to be fair to the New Who writers, like the Time Lords, it's interesting, the Master, I mean, because the Master's clearly like genocidal or borderline genocidal. Like the Master is evil if the word has any meaning.
Yeah.
It's interesting that the Time Lords despise the Doctor and the Master pretty much on equal
Equally.
terms.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
and
they transgress, and
right.
to the Time Lord Society, and it's like that. There's a metaphor in there somewhere about like liberal intelligentsia, right? And
Oh, absolutely. There's a
and it's like the inability to tell the difference between someone who's just different and someone who's genocidal. It's like it's
absolutely.
equally bad from Time Lord perspective, right?
But then you ask, like, given what we know about the universe and the way the Time Lords operate in it and the capacities of these entities, what even does genocide matter? They can fix it.
Yeah,
They could just go back and
yeah,
reset it. They can reset the entire universe seemingly on a whim. You know?
yeah.
So this notion that the Doctor is play acting, that to me is interesting. That to me is interesting when the writers understand that. When this whole,
Yeah,
his morality is an act. It's garbage. It doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I wonder about that. I
What
think
does
a kind of reading.
consequence matter to an entity that can just reset reality when it wants to?
Well, I mean, firstly, I don't think the Doctor himself can anymore, right? For whatever reason. And the writers have kind of, I mean, there's, they flim flam that all over the place because they don't have a
All over the place,
coherent
yeah.
reason well, I mean, but it's, all you got to remember that all of that is working backwards from, we can't do a story where the Doctor stops the Holocaust, even though the Doctor would obviously stop the Holocaust.
Yes,
so we have to have a
right.
reason why he can't. So
Mhm.
we'll invent a bunch of bullshit about fixed points in time and interfering with history, which make no sense
Make
and
no
get
sense.
disregarded anytime we feel like disregarding them.
Yeah.
But and I get it. Like, sure, fine. You've got to, otherwise you've got to answer that question at some point, and no one wants to answer that question.
It's an issue with this kind of fiction. It really is when you
Oh,
set
yeah.
a character like the Doctor. It's
Yeah.
an issue because they become immoral innately. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's like the Justice League, right? Or
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Avengers, yeah? All the Avengers and the Justice League do is fight to retain a status quo that's innately corrupt and problematic, where people are poor and dying and where there's inequality. They are so powerful, like Superman. Superman's another good example. Superman could recreate the world. Superman
Sure.
could make the human world, the Earth, a utopia overnight, almost overnight, but doesn't. And the fact that they don't,
Yeah.
and that the writers have to scrabble to build some bullshit around why they don't.
I mean, it's
I
really,
am, I'm losing
yeah.
patience for that kind of fiction. I'll be honest. As I get older, I'm losing
It's interesting that you
patience with
mentioned.
it.
It's interesting that you mentioned Superman though, because it's one of the things that, I mean, in a work that we discussed in the 80s, right? Well, I mean, there's a few ways you can deal with that. The way that Frank Miller did it was effectively make Superman a bad guy, right? Like
Yeah.
Superman in The Dark Knight Returns is a tool of a quasi-fascistic kind of Reaganite government that's arbitrarily starting wars and this, that, and the other, right? And he kind of he's just and Bruce Wayne as Batman refers to him sneeringly as the Boy Scout, and that worked as a portrayal. Very interestingly, the new Superman movie, the James Gunn written one, addresses the issue in a very different way, and it
I haven't
has
seen
Superman.
it yet, but I hear good things.
Yeah, I won't do any spoilers, but I'll say it tackles exactly what you're talking head on. And
Good.
at the start of the movie, Superman has become a controversial figure because he's stopped a war,
Right. Interesting.
and everyone's just like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "Well, it was wrong,
It was
so
wrong,
I
so I stopped it."
And it's really good. Like, there's a whole scene. Again, this is early on in the film, and I'm not giving any specifics or spoilers because it's worth seeing. But he has a whole argument with Lois Lane, who is his girlfriend at that point, and they're discussing what Superman's actions, and she runs through the whole kind of liberal apology. Yeah, but how can you tell that he was a bad person? What do you and that kind of, and he's like, and it's really interesting where Superman's morality is just like, no, we all know he was the bad guy and the war was wrong, so I stopped it. Like, what, like, that's it. It's not any more complicated than that. And I loved it because it kind of, I talked about this in another podcast I recorded recently, actually, on the subject of Black Sabbath, but it's the morality of like the song War Pigs, which has become, I'm pleased to say, like, it's resurfaced as an anthem with the passing of Ozzy.
Yeah, hugely, right?
And one of the things that's great about that song is how it renders what is, admittedly, it is a complicated, war itself is a complicated socio-political entity, but morally, it's not complicated
Morally,
at
it's
all.
not complicated. No.
And War Pigs just kind of cuts through all the bullshit and says, no, this is what it's about. And it's one of the purest, like, protest ballads that's ever been written. Still one of the best. And I'm really happy to see it as an anthem. And it's really interesting seeing a James Gunn written Superman that's effectively espousing, like, the morality of War Pigs in his persona. So, yeah, it's good, but like you, I'm glad they tackled it, because I wanted to see the Superman movie because I just wanted something to cheer me up. I was at that point, and I have the Christopher Reeve Superman I could talk about for hours. I think it's genuinely one of the, leave aside anything like relating to like the stories, the plots, anything like that. Just Reeves himself, that is one of the all-time great cinematic performances. His transformations from Superman to Kent or back again, especially the way he physically changes, and none of it is not CGI. There's this is just an actor.
It's just the guy, right?
Yeah, who understands body language, who understands how much you can do just with pure physicality. It's because I always think with Superman, Clark Kent's the important character, because it's like with Batman. Batman's a suit, right? It's Bruce Wayne. That's the acting job, right? Really, because the suit does most of the work for you, and I think it's true with Superman as well. And it's Clark who matters.
And it's interesting how so many of the films kind of disregard Clark as a character, isn't it?
They don't get it.
They just don't get it, right?
The writers don't get it, so the actors don't really have a chance because they're led by the script, and it's a shame because it's. I mean, I love Henry Cavill, but I didn't really like any of his Superman movies, and it was not his fault. They were just bad movies.
It's a bit like Affleck as Batman, right?
Affleck's
not bad. He's quite good.
I don't really like
the films
Affleck.
Are awful.
The
films are awful.
No, the films are bad. Yeah,
they're dragged. I mean, really, really awful films.
I don't get the side effect. I really have. I mean, like 300's fine. Like it is. It's nothing wrong with 300. It's a decent action movie. It's, apolitical, complete bollocks, blah blah blah. Ahistorical, but
it's ridiculous, isn't it? It is. Fun. It's very much a comic book. It is very much just a silly comic book.
It's comic book pulp entertainment, but I'm not against that. It done well, and it is done well. So fine. I mean, there's some ableism, there's some racism. It's not perfect, but it's fine, for what it is. But and I'll never get the love for any of his like DC stuff. I mean, he kind of murdered any attempt at a DC cinema, which is probably good, actually, because the best stuff that's come out from DC in movies in the last few years have been stuff that's not trying to do that. Right, the new Superman movie is a standalone that works. The new Batman with with the kid from Twilight actually worked quite well.
The Joker films, obviously.
Oh my God! Yes. Yeah. No, Christ, no. Let's not.
Yeah, right.
Let's not. I feel a rabbit hole beckoning. Yeah. I will say, super quick, because I can't remember if I told you before. I did watch Joker with Kiddo.
Oh really? Oh wow!
And she absolutely loved it. Yeah, she thought it was amazing. So that was very cool.
I mean, the last film, it's one of those films I had to come out and think about for a long time. A long time before I could even figure out what I felt about it,
Yeah.
And in the end, I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's fucking spectacular. I think it's superior to the first film in many ways. Not as
That's
a film,
really interesting.
but as in terms of the ideas and what it's trying to do. I loved it. I thought it was so spectacular and so transgressive.
Yeah.
I mean, it was even attacking itself. It was attacking its own audience, Oh,
that was so great.
The people who thought, kind of like us, thought we knew what the first film was about. It was having a go at that, and wow.
Absolutely. I think it was far. I think Joker 2 was far angrier with the right wing nut jobs who'd misunderstood the film than it was with us. To be fair, but
furious. Furious film. I mean, to the point whereby it's trying to alienate the people who are watching it and the people who are funding it as well.
Yeah, no, but it's also this. I mean, the whole meta commentary about oh, you want a fucking sequel?
Yeah,
okay. You morons.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's kind of what it's saying, isn't it? I I thought it was brilliant. I mean, I'm
No,
not.
I do.
Is it enjoyable? I mean, hard to say. You know, it's one of those
Yeah,
films that's actually quite hard to watch. I think it's nastier than the first film
yeah,
in many
it
respects.
is. Yeah, it is. It's less. It's actually. It's less sympathetic to Fleck than the first movie.
Oh
That's the
God,
main
yes,
tonal shift. Which is not to say it's unsympathetic, but it's less sympathetic to
yeah,
Fleck, which I think is fine. Like it's a decision
hmm
they made, and I think
hmm
it makes sense. I mean, I imagine anyone who's a Harley Quinn fan is probably infuriated by it as well
probably,
because
yeah.
it doesn't give that. It gives. I mean, for me, it kind of goes back to like, yeah. I mean, this. I respect the hell out of the fact that Harley's become her own character, but
Yes.
it was one of the most misbegotten origin stories ever.
Mm,
And I think it's actually a
yeah.
genuine victory that she's become something totally different. Like
Like
that's
an
really
icon
fucking,
in and of
yeah, it's
herself,
really,
right?
and the way she's become an icon by the basically the emancipation from her origin story is
Yeah,
actually fucking cool.
yeah,
But her origin story absolutely sucks balls. It's
yeah.
awful.
It
You
is.
know,
It
like,
really is.
yeah.
Um,
And
wow. Yeah,
yeah.
I was surprised. It's one of those films where I love this. I love when you come out of a film and you're not sure what to
Mm.
feel or what to think. I think that can be very powerful, and it can be powerful in a negative way as well. I mean, I felt that
Oh,
when I came
sure.
out of Prometheus,
Right.
and it took me a while.
And yeah, and you've settled on that now, and you've
Oh,
settled on this
yeah.
is
Well, I've watched it like
unmitigated garbage.
many times since, because it's one of those
Sure.
films whereby there's such diverse opinion about it out there that I keep watching it
Yep.
thinking, am I missing something? You know?
See,
There
yeah,
some is there a
sure.
key? Is there something here that
Yeah, yeah.
unlocks like the Rosetta Stone of this film that makes
Well,
it
and I think
profound and interesting and
uh, I think one of the
yeah.
things, one of the things you and I've got in common, right? It's why we do this show, and it's why you were, top of a very short list of people I wanted to carry on when my life in horror, when I was stepping away from that, was because like we, by default we look for the good in the art that we watch, right? We try and
Absolutely, yeah.
find, if not redemptive readings, then at least the positives
Mhm.
where we can, and we try. I go into a movie knowing it's a minor miracle that any movie ever gets made. They're really
Absolutely.
impossible things to do. So my default is to kind of, and I try and be as open as I can to. I mean, this is why I
Likewise.
don't. I try to avoid trailers because I don't want to go in with
Yeah,
preconceptions because trailers can be they're often not cut by the director and they can be very misleading about the film. And I don't want to go in with an expectation set that's going to end up somewhere else. I'd rather just go in
mhm.
blind and let the film be what it is. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, particularly at the moment, I mean, trailers are dreck at the moment.
Mm,
Trailers are really
yeah, they're not
problematic
good.
because they show you so much,
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
it's not the film we're here to talk about, but
Oh,
the kind of only beef I've got about Together, which I actually saw twice because I
uh-huh.
enjoyed it so much. I took Kiddo to see it. Great film,
Yep.
and genuinely, I think my only beef with it was the trailers gave too much away. They
Kind of
really did.
all in the trailer, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah, and
all there, you know.
it kind of, I mean, not quite all of it.
No.
There were some genuinely nice
Mhm.
moments and some nice twists along the way, but it definitely like
Absolutely.
when I think I'll always have an issue when you include a shot from the final 5 minutes in your trailer. I just like don't
Yes.
do that.
Or when you
Just
include
don't
like
do that.
the key reveal of the
Yeah,
film, you know, it's
yeah,
as
yeah,
though
yeah.
it's like, cutting together a trailer for Fight Club and including that
Right,
sequence, you know,
right.
the reveal sequence, right? Or you know, telling everyone what Rosebud is.
Sure.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It's yeah, but the trailers they more or less do that these days. They give you like this synopsis of the film rather than giving you
yeah,
like a suggestion of what the film is.
yeah. I mean, I will say actually on that subject, the film that we are here to talk about, how's this for a segue?
Mm.
The film that we are here to talk about, actually, Weapons. I think the trailer for that was an honourable exception because I don't
Actually,
think
pretty good.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a very good trailer because the trailer basically gave you, I think, the first 20 minutes of the movie, which is like,
Yes.
this is a fucking weird setup. And then
Uh-huh.
a series of jump cuts so fast and images that were so kind of disconnected that you couldn't really weave a narrative out of what you were seeing, except, okay, shit's gonna go down. But beyond that, you don't really know.
Beyond that,
And
who knows, right?
yeah.
I mean, the
And I think
premise is
that was,
so great.
yeah.
For
Oh God, it's
it's an
fantastic. Yeah.
amazing premise. I mean, it's the kind of premise where, like, as a writer, you think, "Fuck."
Yeah, God, why
Right?
didn't I come up with that? That's just so good. Yeah.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it
then
is.
when you actually see the film, and it's this wonderful structure, these vignettes where it's the same story
Yes.
from different precepts.
Yeah.
Structurally very brave these days, for a mainstream, any kind of mainstream film to do that, you know.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It's really interesting. I did see a review just today, I think, from someone who basically described the director as like the Quentin Tarantino of horror. And I thought,
Wow.
like, yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
long time since I've seen someone use that Pulp Fiction structure.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the nearest thing you've got, right? And it's not quite that, but it's sort of a bit that, right? And I thought like, and again, like as soon as I saw it in Weapons, I was like, shit, why doesn't horror do this? It's the perfect structure for
It
horror.
so works because it leaves mystery,
Yeah.
doesn't it? And also you have that
Yeah.
wonderful perceptual thing where you're
Yeah.
following particular characters, so you're getting one side of the story, and then it's building up slowly and slowly. And as you're revealing more, the audience is getting more and more invested and more
Yeah.
worked up. The form of the film actually informs the
Mm.
themes of the film. I find
Yes.
it's a really
Yes.
good example of how, like, storytelling is not just about, I mean, content obviously is massively important, subject is very important, but the form
Yeah.
is profoundly significant. It can actually alter the nature and the tone of the entire story, like the
Yeah.
import of the story. I mean, if you broke Weapons down and just told it in a linear traditional 3-act fashion, which you can, by the way, because it's a 3-act
Yep.
story, it's a
It
fairy
is.
tale. It's a horror
Yes.
fairy tale, and it's actually quite simple. If you
Yep.
take, in a literal sense, it's very simple, but because
Oh
of the
yeah.
way it's told and the way it's conveyed and the way it's framed, it becomes something much more profound, thematically so fucking interesting. I mean, I've been thinking about it since I watched it, and
Yeah.
there's so much going on in it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
polysemic, isn't it? It's a polysemic film, deliberately so. It's all
Yeah.
about symbols. It's all about symbolism. And
Yeah.
as a result of that, there's no one particular reading to come away with. There are actually
Sure.
loads of different readings to come away with. And if you watch the interviews with the writer and director, he said exactly that. You know, that's part of why he made it the way he made it. I mean, he was working
Yeah.
through certain things when he wrote the original script, but he's very quick to
Sure.
say that's not, I mean, that's obviously in the film, but it's
Yeah.
not exclusively what the film is about.
But also, like that's where the writing process started. But as we both know, like the writing
Mm,
process will lead you where it leads you, and you may end up like, I mean, if you have a starting concern, a starting theme, that will be part of the story.
yeah.
But the story itself will take you wherever it wants you to go, and you know you will uncover other themes, you will uncover complexities, you will, like, if you're doing it right. Anyway, I
I mean,
think.
and that's true to the power of N for the medium of film as well, because you have the
Yeah.
writing process, and then you've got the editing, then
Right.
you've got like the actual filming itself,
Yeah.
you've got like other elements feeding into it,
Well,
performance, you've got,
the interaction between the actors and the
right,
script and the cameras, all of that stuff, which is impossibly complicated. And
which
then, yeah, as you say, post, you've got like sound,
yeah,
music, scoring, all of that stuff.
which alters the
Yeah,
product. It alters and it enhances. I mean, in the case of films that work, films that are successful,
yeah,
it it alters the performance. The whole product becomes something new and brilliant and
yeah.
untamed in a way. I mean, that Weapons is such an untamed film.
It feels. I mean, that's one of the things I loved about it was how unhinged it felt.
Right, tonally, like, I did
Yeah,
not, like, from the trailer, I did not expect coming into this and laughing.
right,
But I
right.
laughed a lot.
Oh, it's
I
really
laughed a
funny in
lot.
places. But
Gladys,
it's also
right?
like oh my god, just what a performance.
Oh my god, stealing the
Yeah.
entire third act, like the
Oh, just
whole
like,
film.
yeah, just sticking it in the back pocket and marching over the horizon gloriously. No, fantastic. But the thing is, like, I mean, I kind of knew it had to get pretty intense because it had an 18 certificate, and I'd seen
Right.
28 years later,
Which
only a
did
few weeks
not,
ago,
right?
which
Which
was a
did not.
15. right? So I got to take kiddo to see that in the cinema as
Yeah,
well. And she's
wow.
still like, we've seen a few movies since. She's like, she still thinks 28 Years is probably the most hardcore horror movie she's seen, just in terms of like
Understandable.
visceral. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Well,
intense. It was
it's got
really
everything,
intense
doesn't it?
film.
It's got
Pretty
everything. It's
much.
got like mass death, it's got slaughter. It's
Yeah.
got a very messy birth at one point.
I mean,
Um,
right.
it's got
And
everything. It's got my mate
and
Nick
it,
being shot in the mouth with an arrow,
sure. And it's
like
got
very
some,
prominently.
yeah, and it's got some very, very naked and fairly well endowed chaps
Yeah,
striding around eating
yeah.
people. I mean, there's a lot going on, and none of which is an objection. You understand? I'm just saying there's a lot
No,
going on,
that's
and I
just what's
think
there,
like
right?
it's just what's there. Exactly, it's just part of the thing. But I think it was interesting to me, reflecting on weapons afterwards, saying, so what's the difference? Like, why does
Yeah,
weapons secure that 18 certificate? And I think it's a couple of things. I think it's the viscerality of a couple of the scenes. I think they are, in addition to being incredibly violent, they're also kind of visceral. I think probably the inclusion of children
yes,
in the violence probably
yeah.
also tips it up over the edge. I think maybe if 28 years later had an army of zombie kids, and maybe we'll
Mhm.
get that in part two, that might have tipped it over the edge, because I think there
Mhm.
is something different there. And I think, by the way, I'm not complaining about that necessarily. I think that probably is
No,
all right. Um,
I think one of the reasons weapons got the 18 certificate also is the framing of the violence. It's where the violence occurs. It's the nature of the violence. So the violence
that's a good point.
is
Yeah,
in the
that's a
home.
good point.
It's in
Yeah, no,
domestic
you're right. It
spaces.
is domestic,
Whereas,
and it's yeah.
28 years later, you know what you're getting from 28
Well,
years
you're
later.
you're
It's a
going on to
post
Zombie Island,
yeah,
aren't you?
it's a
Yeah. So it's
post-apocalypse. It's
yeah,
desperate. It's good. So you're going to get that violence, and ultimately, a lot of the violence is against creatures that are now subhuman. They're
sure.
effectively zombies. They're monsters, right?
Yeah,
Whereas here, it's violence of a much more intimate and profound nature, and also the violence has more weight here. I mean, don't get me wrong. 28
definitely.
years later is also. I mean, 28 years later is a good shout because it is again. It's another one of these horror films we've been getting a lot of late, which is so profoundly about ideas. It's so
Yeah,
profoundly full
absolutely.
of ideas.
Yeah.
Just like Weapons is. Weapons is
Yes.
different because it brings the scope right down. Um, it's much more intimate, the nature of the
Yeah.
ideas going on here. In fact, I mean, one of the interpretations I came away from the film with, and it's derived from both the nature of the characters, but also the structure of the film, is that
Sure.
each of the characters seems to. It's almost like a mind dealing with loss, and each of the
Right.
characters is representative of different reactions to loss. So
Sure.
you have Miss Gandhi. You got the teacher, who's a
Yeah.
fabulous character. I mean, I
Oh yeah.
loved that character so much for the simple
Yeah.
reason that it would have been so easy to frame her as Snow White in the fairy
Oh
tale,
yeah.
right? To
I
make her
thought that's what they were going to
virginal.
do.
Me too,
Yeah.
right? Because she has that look, doesn't she? She looks like she's playing Snow White in many respects. And the way she's framed at the beginning, when she's huddled down and the
Yeah.
whole town is against her because of what's happened, she's being scapegoated. But the film complicates that beautifully because
Yeah.
she is such a flawed character. I mean, it leads you to think, well, did she do something? Is there something here?
Yeah.
The film muddies the waters in so many ways, and it's in a very subtle way. You get these little implications that she's had problems in her past, that
Sure.
she's probably an alcoholic. She deals with her problems in very self-destructive ways. You
Yeah.
have that whole thing about her being. I mean, actually, from what we know, what the headmaster calls being too involved with her students is just being a decent fucking person, and
Yeah.
that's
Just
that's
just having
actually
empathy.
that
Yeah.
whole interaction again feeds into the
Oh,
film,
it's
the
so
themes of the
good.
film. It's
Yeah.
systems being weaponized, where people are actually weaponized against one another. They can't even be
Yeah.
fucking kind to one another because of
Yeah.
the separations of these systems. But
No,
what
yeah,
she
her war crime consists of giving a kid a lift home, because
exactly,
otherwise they were going to be stranded at
because they
school.
were going to
It's
be
like it's
stranded at school. But
bullshit,
but
right?
that's a shot against her. That makes her. And
Yep.
funnily enough, the film is so sophisticated, it makes you feel that as the audience too. When you
Yeah,
hear
it's
that, you're sort of
interesting.
like, hmm,
I
why?
mean, I think part of that is because, I think, in fairness to defend us as the audience in that moment, it's because part of that is because we are watching a horror movie and we know we are. right? So there
Absolutely.
is that
So
thing of like the tropes of the genre are like, but she's got to have a secret. There's got to be some hidden kind of thing. Because the other and kind of, you know, it like narratively, although I mean that's one of the great things about it, right? Although the Josh Brolin character is clearly wrong and clearly
Archer.
bad to be scapegoating her, like it's clearly not okay that he's doing that. At the same time, if you take out the aggression, the prejudice, but you just ask the question, why her class, that is a question you want answered.
That's a
You know,
fair,
like as a viewer,
yes.
right? Do you know what I mean? Like, never mind it. Like,
Yes.
never mind the premise of what's going on. It's just like,
Right.
yeah, why her? There must be a reason. And of course,
Yeah.
it's lovely how like the reveal is like it's not her class,
Right.
it's his class. It's
His
this one.
class.
It's the one kid who, because it's the thing. It's everyone but one kid. Well, that's your key.
Absolutely brilliant. Very clever. Yeah.
Really
Very
good.
beautifully
Really
played.
good.
But she seems to represent a part, like she is shame and guilt. She turns it on herself, even though she knows, like rationally, that she's got nothing to do with this, because the world is telling her that she's got something to do with this.
Sure.
She turns that self-destruction on herself, right?
Well, and also I think like what she embodies is survivor guilt, right? Specifically.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
And
that's
contrasted to Archer, she's very interesting, because Archer's the opposite.
Yeah.
Archer is that he's that part of your mind that when you experience loss and grief and whatnot, turns out. It tries to
he's anger.
Well, he's a control freak, isn't he? We know from little, and again, one of the things that's brilliant about the film, it never explicitly tells or even shows you. You need to work it out from context clues. So you know that it's Matthew, isn't it? Is his son. And you see his son being a bully at school. You see little things about their home life where you know he's a control freak. You know that he's closed off and he's not emotionally available. He's not necessarily like a neglectful father, I don't think. No. But he's not the kind of father who can engage emotionally. I think he's probably quite emotionally stunted. And there are little things that demonstrate that. You're like that dream sequence he has where he's kneeling in front of Matthew's bed and he's apologizing. You don't know what for, because the film is sophisticated enough not to show you what he's apologizing for. So you have to work it out for yourself.
Yeah.
He knows on one level that Matthew kind of left because of him. You know, or at least he feels that. He suspects that. And that is what he embodies, in the same way that Miss Gandhi represents shame and self-destruction through loss and grief and guilt. He represents scapegoating and that desire to find some explanation, some rational, reasonable explanation outside of the self. You know, it's really fascinating, and it seems like all the characters have this aspect to them. It's really, really, the only one that doesn't is the character that embodies the disease itself, which is Gladys, right? For me, Gladys doesn't have any human, like, she is not a human being in and of herself. She's not a character in and of herself. She's the disease. She's like alcoholism. She's and again, that's a theme in the film, right? Addiction is a theme throughout the film. She's addiction embodied.
I mean, she's interesting to me because what she reminds me of is when I was doing the My Life in Horror article about the Columbine massacre, I read a book written by a journalist who'd spent like a couple of years in the immediate aftermath of the atrocity, spending time with the families and spending time in the town and kind of piecing together what happened on the day. But one of the many things that I'm grateful to that book for is it overturned the narrative about the two shooters being like a couple of bullied kids who'd snapped. It's like, no, they were a classic sociopath pairing of like, you know, a vulnerable and impressionable and emotionally stunted and, you know, unpleasant kid with a genuine. And I remember like the description of like the senior partner in the team, I think it was Eric, and basically the writer was like, when you dig beneath the surface of this kid at all, like you just don't find any humanity there at all.
None,
like
nothing.
You don't recognize, like, he just isn't one of us fundamentally. And it's this thing of like, you know, and we talked about this before, like I'm very resistant to othering bad people, as you know, but I think the point is it's not about the literal truth of that, it's the psychological truth of that. And and it's, to me, that's what she represents. She represents, like, because I think funnily enough, I think what she represents actually is, like, you talked about addiction, I think she represents like domestic abuse.
Yeah, oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
you get this wonderful in when you get that final sequence, which is from Alex's perspective, the kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you get
Oh
the
God.
fundamental story. You get the themes all encapsulated, and you get this
Yeah.
imagery coming up, which is the sequences where he's feeding and cleaning his parents.
Oh my
That's
God.
brilliant. That is
Yeah.
so brilliant because what it's putting up on screen is what happens to kids who operate in abusive and neglectful and in not
That's
even
right.
that, but in households where the parent is impaired somehow.
Yeah, or
You know,
suffering from addiction, or
absolutely
yeah,
suffering from
yeah,
addiction. That is exactly it. So he's feeding. He becomes the parent. He
yeah,
becomes the
yeah,
parent, and he is combating the addiction, which is her. It's Gladys.
yeah,
That's what she is. And you get this imagery all the way through the film of parasitism. When you
yeah,
first see Miss Gandy's class, she's talking about parasites. It's up on the board.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And then
yeah.
when Gladys turns up at the principal's house, they're watching a
Oh,
documentary about cordyceps, the one that the fungi that takes over ants and makes them act in peculiar ways.
that was the inspiration for the Last of Us video games, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's right.
It's that kind of
That's
this is the
great.
this is the kind of film. It's Lynchian almost. It's
Yeah,
Lynchian,
yeah.
right? You've
I
got
mean,
these
I think it's slightly easier going on you than a Lynch film would be,
definitely,
but
yeah.
yeah, but it's definitely there are
Oh,
elements of that for
you can
sure. Yeah.
so see it, right? Though you
Oh
can
yeah,
so see it in
it's an
the.
influence.
It's yeah, the symbolism which is just there, and you need to pick it up. You need to sit there. It's a vision. This film, it's one of those wonderful films that acknowledges that cinema is a visual medium.
Oh God,
So
yeah.
it's not like watching fucking Netflix where you can get up
No,
and go and
right.
do something else and then come back and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
You need to sit and watch this film, man. You need to
On
look at
that,
what's going on, you know?
yeah, on that note specifically as well, I will say this: like I didn't do this on purpose. It's just because I wanted to go to a late showing, and it happened to be
Uh,
the late showing. But I saw this on an IMAX, and I am so fucking glad
oh,
because it
yes,
is
right.
exquisitely filmed. It is exquisitely framed, and the every, like. I remember the first time I saw The Shining on the IMAX.
Uh-huh.
What a revelation it was to me because I finally realized like the camera is like a window,
Yeah.
yeah, and we are on the other side of that window looking into the overlook. You know what I mean? Like you are
Yeah,
one of the ghosts. You're one of the ghosts in the overlook, just
absolutely.
watching what's happening. And I didn't get that until I got to see it on this massive screen with this incredibly clear picture. And it's Weapons has moments like that as well. Just
Totally.
it, every single shot in that film without exception was thought about
Oh, it's
very
painterly.
carefully,
It's
and
painterly. I mean,
yeah,
the
it's
Kubrick
beautiful.
influence.
And it's not showy offy.
Nope.
It doesn't distract. It never detracts from what's
Nope.
going on. You just spend most of the film with your jaw halfway to the ground because you can't believe how beautiful it
Yeah.
is. I mean, it's
Honestly,
just
it's a film
fucking hell.
that so understands the grammar of cinematography and why
Yes.
certain frames and shots and camera movements exist. And the way it
And
enhances the movement of the camera just floored me. The way,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
with like Miss Gandhi, it follows her out of that initial
Oh,
meeting. So you're in the
yeah.
crowd, you're in the mob, right?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. But it's
brilliant.
also like there's an amazing like one of the things that I love. Like there's a really because I keep an eye out for tracking shots because I'm kind of a fan.
Yeah.
I love. I mean, the incredibly famous one from Goodfellas of the entry to the cabana, which is
Right.
fantastic. Like it's the one shot tracking shot. And there was one quite early on where the teacher. Justine is going to Miss Gandhi is going to the convenience store, the liquor store. In fact,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's one of the early kind of indicators that she's maybe got a drink problem, right?
Mhm.
And you follow her from from outside from the gas, and then she goes into the liquor store. She's wandering through, and it's just a really long tracking shot, and it's
Mhm.
beautifully done. And it's one of those where you get again, it is Kubrickian in the sense of like the rows of the drinks like bottles lined up either side of the aisle is
Mm.
like it's reminiscent of the fridge freezer in The Shining, right, where there's just these rows and rows of food and all that kind of stuff. Like it feels like that.
It feels uncomfortable as well, does it? It's so stark, and you've got
Yeah,
this harassed woman,
yeah,
like
yeah,
who's in your face. You are looking at her face on, and
yeah.
it's there's something deeply, almost like surreally unsettling about that.
Yeah, and it's great because it works completely on its own terms. It earns its keep. It's a great early moment when nothing's really happening, but you're just like, Jesus, this is a well-made film. God, this is good looking.
Yeah,
But also, like that tracking shot comes back like two or three
it
times,
does.
and
It
it
does.
ends up like a massive confrontation in that same liquor store, right?
Right.
Where where the police officer's like fiance or whatever she is like
Oh yeah.
confronts her. And
Yeah.
but it's the same tracking shot, and it's
Yeah.
deliberate, and it sets you up because what that does is subconsciously, this is really good filmmaking. Like subconsciously, your mind slips back into the rhythm of the earlier tracking shots. So when
Right.
she's attacked, it is absolutely heart stopping because you've been knocked out of what you were
Yeah.
expecting to see. You know, it's so clever.
And of
It's
course, at
so
that
clever.
point, you've been built up to know that she's a target. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
many
yeah.
subtle ways because someone actually literally paints a target on her car at one point, and then you
That's
get
true.
and of course you get the film telling you what's going on as well in a very
Right.
wry way when Archer paints witch on the side
Which,
of her car.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, it's fantastic.
it is utterly brilliant. I mean, one of my
Yeah.
favorite shots in the entire film actually is I mean, it's so unsettling. It's that shivering shot when she's in her car outside of the of
Oh
Alex's
my
house,
God.
and the
Yeah.
door opens and the mother comes out. Bearing in mind, you haven't really seen any of the possessed adults or the
Yeah.
overtaken adults yet, and the way she's moving
Oh,
mimics the way the ants move, the cordyceps ants
yeah.
move on the TV screen later on. And you don't know what the hell is going on. And the film doesn't
What?
tell you.
Yeah.
You see you see Justine in the front seat and you hear the car door open.
Oh God, it's so
And
great.
you are like, oh my, I was expecting gore. You know, I was
Well,
at
that's
that
it,
point,
right?
I had been trying to think, oh, this is going to be like Halloween. This is going to be,
Yeah.
this is going to be scissors through the throat kind of thing.
Yep.
And it's not.
No.
It's worse than that somehow.
Yep.
It's this whole thing the film has about transgressing boundaries. That's another theme of the film. Characters do this all the frigging time. You've got in the initial meeting Josh Brolin standing up and breaking the protocol of that meeting.
Yeah.
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 The children leaving, that in and of itself is a transgression, right? And that more than anything, I mean, there is a really unpleasant commentary in this film about the nature of parenthood and the nature of families. The one of the reasons the families are looking for a scapegoat in the form of Justine is because they know the stuff. They know
Yeah.
that there's reasons why any
Yeah.
child would want to run away from home.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, and
It,
it's kind of like it's the gag in the closing line of the song "Blame Canada," right, from the South Park
Mhm.
movie. Let's blame them before someone thinks of blaming us.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And in that regard, I mean, like if looking at her literally for a moment, Gladys is kind of incidental. It's
Yeah.
their disease that allows Gladys in many respects. I mean, there is a reading of this film that's really out there, which is the framing of the film is like a child's story. So it's a child narrator telling you the story at the beginning. So immediately
Yep.
before the first frame even occurs, because she starts speaking in darkness,
Yes.
all bets are off. This doesn't,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to take this account literally. This
Yeah.
could be a child from that town, maybe someone who was directly involved in whatever event it
Sure.
was, inventing a fairy tale to justify or to process this story.
One of my
And
favorite,
yeah,
you hit on one of my favorite things about that, which was I was 100% sure. And again, this is just someone who's seen a lot of films. I was 100% sure that by the end of the film, we would know who that child narrator was.
yeah, but yeah,
And
you
I am
don't.
so glad that we didn't. That was
Mm,
such a brilliant, and I even double checked it. I made sure, like, they have a separate credit
yeah,
for just the child. Like, it wasn't one of the kids,
nope,
but, it wasn't one of the kids we saw. And I
no,
think that's just brilliant.
kind
Like
of
that is
brilliant, right?
so cool. It's so much better than a reveal because you can see a version of it where it's a reveal that it's one of the kids, and it would have been
Yeah,
okay. Like
it
that
would have
wouldn't
been
have been
fine.
bad.
No, and of
But
course that
it's
implication is there. If you want to take it that
yes,
way, it
yes,
hangs, right? It hangs there.
it does. But I think it's more likely it's not because of the closing line about, and a year later, some of them have even started talking again. And it's the use of the
Right.
word them, right, as opposed
Rather
to us.
than
So
us, yeah.
it kind of, but again, that could be a kid like throwing a curveball. It doesn't ruin the reading, but it
Not at
complicates
all.
it.
It complicates,
But yeah.
absolutely. And who's she
Um,
talking to, right? Who are we
right.
in
Who
this
are we?
dynamic?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
love that. It's such a clever framing device because suddenly all bets are off. You don't
Yeah.
know what this is. But the film deals with certain themes and ideas about family and about the relationships between parents and children that make like the literal reading of Gladys problematic. She could be
Mm,
like a confection. She could be something that the children have like collectively imagined to deal with whatever trauma they are actually dealing with, yeah?
yeah.
And it's there innately in the film. There are problems in this society. There are problems with all of these characters. There are problems with them
Yep.
as people and as parents and
Yep.
with reference to their children. We get that embodied in Josh Brolin's character, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, I
I
find
tell
that
you what, as well,
fascinating.
like it's a brilliant. Just briefly on, like it's an absolutely fantastic performance by Brolin as well. Let's just
Oh
say that.
my
Like
God. I mean, I love Brolin in most things, to
I
be
do.
perfectly honest.
Yeah,
I
I do.
really love Brolin. I think he was wasted as Thanos. I think, nobody could have made that writing work. Um, Bless
No,
his
but he
heart,
did.
He did a
I
great
think
job. He
he.
did a great
You
job.
know
He
what I mean?
did,
Like he did. Considering how bad the writing was, I thought actually
Yes.
he. I'm glad they
I
had
mean,
him because he
yeah.
at least sounded
He
scary.
sounded good, right? Yeah, he
Yeah.
sounded
Yeah.
good. He had the patina of pathos, even if the
Yeah.
writing didn't allow it to pay off, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
Josh Brolin's one of those actors I just love in almost everything
Yeah.
he's in, and he's so good in this because he's restrained. He's doing this thing where he's at odds with himself all the time. You can feel the anger,
That's
you can
brilliant.
feel the frustration, and it's not just the loss of the child, although that may be like a precipitator or
Yeah.
it's also the fact his
It's a
marriage is on the
catalyst, right?
rocks, right? He's
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
having
Absolutely.
difficulty. He's having difficulty
Yeah.
at home with lots of things.
Yeah.
Um, and
Can I tell you who he? Yeah. So I was just
sorry,
going to say
no, no,
quickly.
go on.
Who he reminded me of is our earlier conversation about adolescence. He reminded me a lot of Graham's father.
Right,
You
right,
know,
yeah.
that same thing, like because he's not a straight up bad guy. You
No,
think he's going to
no.
be when you first see him. You think he's going to be
Mm,
like the MAGA dad, right? And he's going to
yeah,
be the caricature MAGA dad. No, there's emotional depth to this guy for sure. The dream sequence you talked about earlier is really
yes.
powerful because it is a dream and it's a real dream. It's not a
Mm,
supernatural incurrence. That's his subconscious
it's his
trying to
subconscious,
process
yeah.
what's going on and accusing him,
Yeah,
through his own guilt of like, well, you didn't love your kid.
yeah.
You didn't tell him you loved him.
Exactly,
And
and
then now he's gone.
it's calling him impotent as well. I mean, that dream
Yeah.
sequence, he
Yeah.
runs in a straight line, and he
Yes.
ends up back home.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
can't get
Absolutely.
anywhere with his
Yeah.
approach to things, his
Yeah.
controlling nature. I think that's his greatest sin, to be honest. He's controlling, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's probably quite conservative. He probably belongs to a fairly authoritarian church or religion or something like
Sure.
that. Um, and that's kind of what's driven this wedge between him and his child and him and his wife and him and his culture, right?
Yeah. 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 But
Um,
don't you also, given all that, don't you love the decision to also give him a genuine strain of decency and even like
yes.
courage?
Oh, not to
It's
not make him a
so
bad
much more
guy.
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
so much
So
more.
much more
It's the
interesting.
same thing you get with Justine from the opposite perspective, right? She
Yes.
is a
Yeah.
good teacher. She's actually a fairly decent person in many respects, certainly with
Yeah.
regards to the children. But
Absolutely.
she has edges. I
She
mean,
has flaws.
she
Yeah.
sleeps with a married man. She
Yeah.
has these self-destructive tendencies. We have allusions to bad decisions she's made in the
Yeah.
past, but very few in the way of specifics. So we don't.
And that
They're not
again,
like overt. They're not
there's a whole
overt.
layer to that, right? That's what's brilliant about that. There's a whole layer to that, like how much of this is there actually any fire, or is it all just smoke?
Yeah,
Is this just the rumors that
right.
swirl around a woman in that situation, right? Like you can read it either way.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
evidence on either side.
And
It's very, very clever.
the acting is awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
acting is just awesome. She feels so natural, you know.
yeah,
It
yeah.
feels a bit so uncomfortable, like that tracking shot you were talking about, because it feels like you're
God, so
intruding
great.
on a private moment. It feels like you're
Yeah,
intruding on this woman's private pain. and
Yeah.
it's a great thing to do. It reminds me of The Witch in that regard. That has a
Right.
similar thing going on where you feel like a voyeur,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
And
You
there's
feel like,
also,
ugh.
I think the follow-up scene to that initial one in the liquor store as well, where she's in, and I love this when she's in home and she gets interrupted halfway through making her kind of, I think, vodka and lemonade, which is about 50-50 vodka and lemonade, right? But you see her like chucking the ice into the glass. And
Mhm.
my memory is that the shot, again, it's just so well done. The shot is focused on the glass sitting on the counter, and
Yeah,
she's moving in the background in kind of soft focus. You see her kind of move in and out of focus as she moves closer to the glass and the
yeah.
drink, which is really interesting, like, in terms of
Thematic, right?
alcohol, right? And how it
Yeah.
makes you feel. And then, of course, she's interrupted by the door, right? There's the bang
Mm.
at the door, and then she
And
sees
that's
the car's been
interesting because it's
graffitied.
Archer, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That
Although we don't
makes it
discover that until,
no.
another like hour of the film. Yeah, fantastic.
That makes it even more
Fantastic.
fascinating. Again, it's this transgressing boundaries. Archer does it a lot, actually. Archer does it a
Yeah,
hell of a lot. So he does it
yeah.
at work, when he's forgetting things, he's getting things wrong. He does it at the meeting. He does it when he goes, when he develops his little plan to sort of use the direction the children were running to sort of cross-reference
Uh,
and try and find a point where they might have been running to. When he goes to talk to the family of the other child that went missing, and the woman tells him no. I don't want,
yeah,
this is our private
right.
pain. I don't want you intruding. So what does he do? He waits for the father
I
to
tell
come
you what,
home.
that the commentary of gender politics in that scene is
Mm-hmm.
fantastic.
Isn't it?
That is just so good. It's
Isn't
so
it?
intelligent. Like, it's just, oh God, that's
It
exactly how that would
begs the
play out. It's
question.
brilliant.
It begs the question: if Miss Gandhi was Mr. Gandhi,
Right,
how would things have played out?
right.
Would the attitude towards her, also her nature, right? The fact that she's a young
Yeah,
woman, she's a pretty woman, she's outside of this particular culture. She's an outsider. We
sure.
know this. We know this. I don't know whether, I think it is like actually stated. She's only just sort of moved in like a few
Yeah, yeah,
years
yeah.
ago, which makes her a stranger, right? It makes her an
Yeah.
outsider.
Yeah,
Um,
because I think there's some hint that there was some whiff of scandal that she was fleeing that brought her there in the
yeah,
first place, right? And again, we don't
right,
get any specifics, but
right.
yeah, yeah,
How would that have played out
yeah,
differently? But then again, I mean, even when they do have their confrontations and they do come to a point where they do, they do confront one another, I'm
yeah,
surprised by how unexplosive it actually is. I mean, he's wrong. He's totally wrong to approach
yeah,
her. It's not, he's transgressing boundaries, but he's
yeah.
more calm than I thought he would have been. The way the scene is played out is not as
Well,
aggressive as I thought it was going to be.
we've seen the version of this story a lot, right? And normally this is the moment where the aggressive male like just snaps and
Yeah.
explodes, and there's violence and it's horrific, and we're kind of prepped for that because there've been these two characters have been set up in that level of opposition, and it's like, there's no such thing as a perfect victim, right? So she's got her flaws, and that's enough for us to be like, okay, we know how this is going to play out. But what I love about it is, yeah, I agree with you. He's coming, but that's because like it's actually that's the moment when his internal morality does start to surface. And even though,
Yes.
as you say, he's small c conservative, and he's definitely, sexist, if not outright misogynistic, and
Yep.
he uses his male privilege in all kinds of unpleasant ways. But when it comes down to it, like, and also it's worth remembering that confrontation starts, and then of course is interrupted by violence from a completely unexpected angle,
Yeah.
and that's when his kind of for want of a better word, I guess his chivalry kicks in, right?
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
whatever his beef is with this woman, it's like, oh no, that's not cool.
Oh, he's not going.
Like,
Yeah, he's not going to allow her to be harmed, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's really
exactly.
fascinating. It's
It
really
is
fascinating,
interesting, and
and
that's
again,
actually
thematically, you're getting this meeting of opposing perspectives. You're getting this sort
well,
of like the clash of the point where they're coming together and reconciling, and that,
it
I mean,
it becomes a buddy movie. The last half an
right?
hour is an actual buddy movie. It's amazing.
Isn't it strange? Isn't it? You get a
Yeah,
similar thing again, mirrors and echoes, mirrors and echoes. You get a similar thing between Paul and the I can never remember his name, the guy that he ultimately ends up punching. Uh, you know, um,
yeah, yeah.
Paul is really interesting because he's a cop, right? And
Oh,
that's that for
James, the drug
so,
addict. Yeah,
yes, Paul and
yeah,
James, right?
yeah,
They are
yeah.
in many respects, like in any other piece of fiction that has these two characters, these two archetypes, they would be opposed to one another.
Yeah.
When actually they're more akin here. Paul is down
Yeah.
and out, despite the fact that he has a job and he has the uniform and he has some measure of play acting authority. He
Sure.
is absolutely at the bottom of his barrel, and we know that again
Yeah.
through certain context clues, which are very difficult to pick up initially. They're very difficult because he looks fine. He looks kind of well turned out, he looks composed, but you need to get the perspectives of the other characters
Yes.
to work out what's going on with him. And we find out, of course, that he has been down and out for a long time. He only got the
Yeah.
job because of his fiance. Her father is like the commissioner or is high up in the police force. And he's on a very tight leash.
Yeah.
He's like one more screw up and he's done. He's done. Also, he's not enjoying the life that he's living. This life that
No.
he's living is synthetic. He never wanted to be this. And that is clear. It's one of those things that's wonderfully clear from what he does. You have to look at his actions, what he does as a way of escaping from that life. And also just the performance, the way it's being played. He always looks hangdog. He always looks like he doesn't want to be where he is. And when he
Yeah.
explodes, his reactions are extreme. They're
Yeah.
extreme. So when he falls off the wagon and he ends up sleeping with Justine, and him and
Yeah.
Justine are just a bad mix. They're toxic for one
Yeah.
another. They are just a bad, bad mix. Perhaps even more so for him because he's so low. He's so near the bottom of the barrel at that point.
Yeah. And he's an interesting character because we talked about how impressive the structure is.
Mhm.
I think he's the exemplar for that for me because every time the perspective shifts, you get a new perspective on Paul.
Every time, right?
Every single time. And you don't really understand who Paul is until you've hit like the third or fourth perspective
When
on
he
him.
first appears in Justine's
Fantastic.
story, the film deliberately frames him as though he is there to help. As though
Yeah.
he's like the good Samaritan. He's the one who says to her, you shouldn't be doing this. That's not going to help. I'm not going to drink with you, etc., etc. He's set up as though he may be like her salvation. And he's
Or at least her conscience, right?
Right. And he's
Yeah.
so not that. And you don't get that until his story.
Yeah.
And then you realize that actually he is a guy on the edge. He could turn in so many different ways. So many different ways. And when he's looking at Jason, isn't it? Is it Jason or James? James. When he's looking at James, he's looking at himself.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because by that point in the story, you realise that Alden, the police officer, Paul Morgan, played by Alden, is an alcoholic.
He's an addict himself, right?
Yeah.
And he's been quite near place where James is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's
It's
not
so
that far
clever.
away. He's not that far away at this point, right? That's why he gets so aggressive with him. That's why he's so violent towards him. It's because, it's a part of himself that he despises and he doesn't want, that he's trying to exercise. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you take it literally, obviously he also, I get why he flies off the handle. Because again,
It's
you get this
terrifying moment.
It is. You get this transgression happening. You get this crossing of boundaries again, where James just has to tell him the truth. Yes, I've got a needle,
Yeah.
and he doesn't. He doesn't. He deliberately and casually lies to him. I mean, okay, what's Paul doing out there without a partner? What's Paul doing searching a guy? Probably not taking as much care as he should because he's distracted and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that, I get, again, it's this humanizing moment, isn't it?
Yeah,
what
it is, absolutely.
I can feel the rage that he would feel and the fear, because everyone would feel it, right?
And that's deliberate, and I think it's very smart writing because it's a scene that you could write 100 different ways, and I think probably 95 of them, Paul will come out of it as a straight-up villain, and that's fine if that's a story you want to tell, by the way, and it's a story worth telling.
Totally.
But I love that for Weapons, because of what the filmmaker's trying to achieve, because of the story they're trying to tell, it's like, no, we're going to set this up, we're going to have this, because we've all seen this scene before as well.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right, his reaction is so human.
It's human.
It's bad, but it's human.
It's made worse because of who he is, isn't it? Because of his position.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, absolutely. But I love that scene. It's great.
Me too. I really, really liked that. And I mean, again, it's a funny one too. I mean, when he clocks it, he really clocks it.
It is
There's
funny.
a bit of slapstick going on there.
Yeah, I mean, really clever. Like it kind of because it at that point in the film that might even be the biggest like violent moment you've seen. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm trying to place it all together, but like it also kind of it kind of misdirects you in terms of like violence in the movie and slapstick because it's like you're going to see some shit in the final reel,
yeah,
and
you really
they're
are.
really just going to turn it up to 11 and snap the knobs
Yeah,
off. I mean,
and
it's
when
like
it goes,
wow,
it goes, and it's still funny. It's
yes,
funny because of how extreme it
oh
is.
yeah, yeah. No, it's
I was
absolutely
laughing
fantastic.
my ass off. I'll be honest. In
Yeah, yeah,
the last what half
yeah.
an
Like
hour or so,
yeah, no, it's
I was
absolutely.
really laughing at the film, and not in a derisive way. I was laughing with it.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
it was gleeful, wasn't it?
yeah,
But that's where you're
absolutely
back.
was.
That's where you're back to the kids. And I think for me, one of the things. I mean, we talked briefly about how impressive the violence is at the end and how kind of over the top it is. But I think one of the things you talked about earlier, one of the most distressing, genuinely distressing sequences in the whole movie is as you said when Gandhi's fallen asleep in the car staking out the kid's house and
Yeah.
she's drunk she's been sitting there with and she's fallen asleep, and it is like you say, it's set up as a slasher scene, as a slasher sequence 100%, complete with the camera staying on her, so we hear the door open
Yeah,
behind her,
but you
we
don't see
hear
it.
someone slides into the seat behind her, and then we see the scissors and we're like, well, okay, I know what's going to happen now.
Okay,
And as you say, the removal, but this is the thing, the removal of the hair, you're right, it's more disturbing because what does that mean?
what does it
What
mean? We
does that
don't.
mean?
At
What
this
the
point,
hell?
we don't know what's
Not a
going
clue.
on. And also,
And,
we're
and
already
from,
distressed. We're already distressed
yeah,
because of what she's doing. The
because of
fact
what
that
she's
she's
doing.
camped outside this kid's house. I
Yeah,
mean, like outside of context,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh my god, there is something wrong with her. She
Well,
is
she's
like obsessive and
she's
maybe stalkerish, you know?
it's like she's determined to live up to the stereotype that has been drawn for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's a self-destructive thing almost. It's like you got to let this
Symbolically,
go.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's fulfilling her function in the same
but
way that Paul and James do ultimately.
sure. But the thing it made me think of as well is like for me, and this is the image from the posters, but it's one of my favorite images of the movie, is the other thing that I think is super fucking disturbing in the movie is the image of just the kids running with their arms out
Oh
like they're
yeah,
aeroplanes because they're
yeah.
running full pelt and their heads are up, they're not looking down, so they're not
hmm
looking to see if they're going to trip, and they've got their arms out like they're playing a game,
It's
and it's
unnatural and it's weird.
so creepy. It's
And the
so
fact that
fucking
it's
creepy.
2:17 in the morning and it's
Oh,
dark and
it's amazing.
you're seeing
It's
it through that
amazing.
medium of the door cam as well, which
Yes. Oh
makes it
God, what a great
worse.
touch!
I
What a
mean,
great touch!
fantastic. I mean, it's utterly brilliant. Also, with their arms, they're making a triangle, which is
Right.
significant. The triangle recurs
Yeah.
again and again and again and again. You get it over the opening, it's over the title of the
Yeah.
film. You get
And
it
it's in the
on
closing credits, right?
it's in the
Yeah.
closing credits. You get it
Yeah.
on Gladys's bell. There's a
Right. Right.
triangle and a six, and I mean that the triangle is again it's polysemic. It's like almost everything in the film. It has loads of different potential connotations. I mean, like
Sure.
in occult symbolism and Kabbalism, it means all sorts depending on where you go. It's the divine
Sure.
feminine, it's the chalice, it's all of
Yeah.
these things. It's all of these things, and but it's also, I mean, the way the triangle is portrayed at the beginning, triangle in a circle. It's Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
It's
Right.
Alcoholics
Yeah.
Anonymous, right?
Yeah. So you're
Um,
back to addiction. Yeah.
yeah, and the six. I mean, the six again has loads of different It has tons of symbolism. There are
Yeah.
six characters. That's one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Biblically, six is associated with fallen humanity. I mean, human beings were created on the sixth day.
Yep.
It's the that's part of it too.
Yeah. And
There's
the number of the beast, right? I mean, it's yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
There is
Um.
so much that you
Yeah.
need to look at. I mean, looking at Gladys herself, the way
Oh.
she dresses. When you look at
Yeah.
her, your tendency, of course, is to laugh. Everybody laughs because she is really funny.
Sure.
She's
Yeah.
really funny. But when you step back and think about it, why is she dressing like that?
Yeah.
It's like someone who is observing humanity from the outside and gets certain things about humanity, but doesn't quite understand how it works.
That's exactly what I like about it. For me, I tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the depictions of the low men from like
Yes.
the what is it, like Hearts in Atlantis, one of the stories in there, right? And it's like it was that, because that was the first, when I first saw her, I thought that is something inhuman
Yes.
mimicking humanity, right?
Pennywise, right? Pennywise, yeah. See, I mean, she has so many overlaps. King is a huge influence on this film. I know for a fact that the writer-director, one of his touchstones was Needful Things.
Right, absolutely, because it's the small town and it's the torn apart by the thing.
Exactly.
No, definitely.
It's the alien invader that doesn't bring problems with them, but exacerbates the problems that are already there, and it brings them to the surface. Yeah.
I'd say as well, it's something that King revisited, certainly in the opening third of The Outsider as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It is an obvious touchstone here, you know. I mean, and she
definitely.
she could be of the same ilk as Pennywise, you know.
Sure.
She is of a very similar thing. She is ultimately feeding off of people, you know. She's feeding off of youth and whatnot.
Well, I mean, you know, you talked about, just to hit on it. I mean, she is a witch. She's also kind of, in some sense, a vampire, right?
She's a vampire, right? She's fascinating. She's absolutely fascinating. The actor was given two choices. He gave her two backstories to go off of, and he asked her specifically, "Don't tell me which one you've chosen."
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that.
Right? One of them was, you know, very, very broad outlines. One of them is that she was human at one time, but is using the witchcraft to sustain herself. She has some sort of
prolong her
illness or something like that. The other is that she's not human at all. She's something else.
Right.
Because
interestingly, one of the things that I got with the person that I went with, we were picking the movie apart on the way home, and she said, you know, was she even really related to them?
No, I don't think so.
At all.
There's
you know what I mean? Like,
if you, I mean, really, and again, you have to be like molecular with this, but there are contradictions in what she says. Sometimes she's aunt, sometimes she's great aunt, sometimes she's this, sometimes she's that, and the parents don't seem to know where she fits. I don't think so at all. I think she sort of like cast a affluence over them and ingratiated herself like a parasite, like a parasite.
Yeah, it's a parasitic thing again. Yeah.
It's so. Honestly,
I would on that though. I mean, I agree that that's definitely there in the film, and that's definitely an interpretation. The reason that I asked the question, the thing that I thought about was, I think in the other column, in the potentially she is a family member, is ultimately, and I love this about the conclusion of the film, like the kid uses the magic.
He does. And his own blood, right?
And his own blood. And I did wonder, like, because my thing was like, well, because the blood is so an intimate part of the ritual, and maybe it's just that it's the blood and the plant and anyone can do it, right? But my read was like, on the other hand, it seemed to me to indicate maybe she was part of the family, because maybe it was only because he also had her blood that he was able to work the spell, right? Like, so that was it. And again, it's open, right? Like, the film is not saying this question
that feed into that. There's this wonderful moment when he says to her, when she's asked him to take the items from each of his classmates, and he says to her, "Will you go away then?" Basically, that's the bargain.
Yes.
And she looks hurt.
Yeah.
She actually looks hurt, like genuinely hurt, as though it's not a play act. She looks like, "Oh, you want me to go?"
Yeah.
As though like she doesn't understand even.
Yeah.
Why he would want her to go.
And again, that for me is like, I know, the addiction metaphor is obviously there, but that's where she's the stand-in for domestic abuse for me. Because every domestic abuser has that look on their face sooner or later, like, why are you scared of me? Why are you
it's normalized to them, right?
Yeah.
Something about the way they behave is normalized to them. It's such a complex idea. It's such that character is a fucking gift. isn't
She's
she?
just so great. And
She is a gift.
and it's like the layers of like, on one level, it's someone who doesn't really know how to be human, pretending to be human. On another level, though, when you start thinking about it more, it's like, no, actually, that's the perfect disguise
Yeah.
for someone who knows exactly what they're doing. But they know if they dress like that and they talk like that and they act like that, no one's going to suspect them of what they actually are
No.
for a second,
No.
because they're going to be too distracted by the surface stuff to even imagine that there's a real live malevolent intelligence working
Right.
underneath the surface. They're just going to think, well, this is some dotty old bird, you know. And I think
Absolutely, yeah.
it's brilliant. It's brilliant, like camouflage.
But it's
right,
also a
for
brilliant
monster.
commentary as well, isn't it? About the nature of
Yeah.
abuse. Because this is how it comes, right?
Oh,
People,
yeah.
it's something you hear all the time. I mean, obviously, in my area, I hear it all the goddamn
Sure.
time. You
Sure.
wouldn't expect it of them.
No.
And it's like, no,
And
you wouldn't, because they take abuse. That's the nature of abuse, and it's true institutionally. It's true on a macro level. It's true on a micro level. Abuse
the best,
protects itself. The parasite
yeah.
protects itself by any way that it can.
Also, and I've said this before, and it's not my quote, but I can never remember who it was that I saw originally said it. But the most eloquent way I've heard it expressed is, abusers groom their defenders as assiduously as they groom their victims.
So totally, yes. That's why you would never think it of them. That's what you want to look for. That's what you want to look for.
Because that's what they have shown you, because that's what they want you to see, because one day they know you might be on a stand saying exactly that. And they need that.
They need the defense, right? They need the defense. You want to look, I mean, like, you want to look for someone that has no friction at all. And don't get me wrong, but, you know, some people are just good. They're just nice. They're just decent.
Some people are just cool.
It, you know. However, if someone has no edges at all, like none.
I think it's also like, but that's the thing, isn't it? If you have someone who's apparently frictionless and then you start to hear whispers or you start to see something, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what you want to look for. That is it. You want to look for someone who is sweetness and kindness itself outside of whatever sphere where the abuse is occurring. Because that's the other thing as well, right? Abuse is contextual.
But I mean, it must have been like, on a professional basis, it must have been absolutely toe curling for you. And like, obviously, it's not my profession, but I've been close to people who do work in a similar area. The actual scene with the principal talking to her and she's trying to cover for the fact the parents aren't. I was like, oh my God, this is so well written.
This is so brilliant, because this is like, it's almost like, just go onto YouTube and type, look up accounts from people who have operated in this area and who have dealt with abuse, have experienced abuse, and so on. You'll hear those words. You'll hear those words again and again and again. Those dynamics occurring again and again and again. It was it's so brilliant. It's so I mean, that feeds into the title, of course. I mean, the title is deliberately polysemic and oblique, right? It can mean any number of things. In a literal sense, you get her actively weaponizing people, but that's really not it, is it? You know, that's really not what this is about. It's about how we weaponize each other and ourselves. It's about how grief and loss and abuse, we weaponize everything about ourselves in order to defend ourselves. It's and it's about, and although weirdly for a movie made in 2025, it's not overtly a Trump analogy. It is also about how how our differences are weaponized. Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, the whole dynamic of the town effectively becoming a witch burning mob against Justine. Yeah. Absolutely.
But that's the thing, isn't it? But they're turned in the wrong direction. They're turned away from the real evil.
The real evil is not even Gladys. Gladys is a reflection. It's them. It's in them. It's in all of them. It's in their culture. It's in their history. It's in their traditions. It's in the structures. It's in, I mean, like, the really dark commentary. It's in family. That's the truth. It's in family, right? Families are weaponized. That's why you get a big fuck off AK-47 floating above suburbia.
Oh God, it's so great.
It's so good. It's that.
And again, that's his subconscious,
right? I went back in my seat for some reason when that happened. Really, I thought the image was really shocking, and I don't know why. You know
what? It's one of those moments where, because you've described this. You know, I mean, I've name checked Tarantino. You name checked Lynch, and I think they're both reference points for this. That's one of those Lynchian moments that is just like, there aren't many directors or writers prepared to just go that fucking big. I mean, physically big, because again, I saw that in the IMAX, and that the reason, I think part of the reason you push back in your seat is just the sheer scale of it compared to the house.
It's a gigantism reaction, right? Where big things are scary, right? Really big things are scary.
And it's a big scary thing, right? Like a gun and an automatic rifle is a terrifying instrument already. And when it's that fucking big and it's just floating in the air over the house, you're like, yeah, this is really. And again, bear in mind, that's Josh Brolin's character. That's Archer's subconscious. That's his own fears of who he is.
I mean, the other analogy, the other metaphor that people have come up with in terms of what the sort of the themes of the film is, of course, that it's a kind of fever dream whereby the town, and by extension America, the USA, is processing the phenomena of school shootings, right? I mean, the director said that, the director, he hasn't disclaimed that, because he said, like, any, all interpretations are valid effectively. But he has said, I wasn't intending that when I wrote it, but
no, sure.
no,
but it is so in there.
You can't.
It is in there.
It's too. There's nothing you can do about it. You've got a school where kids go missing, and there is imagery of assault weapons. I mean, you can't. It's there. It's. I've got to be honest.
Even just the image of the classroom with one child in it, that image is so stark, and it's so, like, obviously that, it's not that would have literally happened, but political cartoons would have done versions of that. I remember after the Columbine massacre, they put there were 12, whatever it was, 10 or 12 crosses that the kids planted outside the school to represent the victims who'd been shot, and it was like, that kind of imagery is so ingrained in us now, sadly, because school shootings have become such a common phenomenon in the States, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And
I don't think you can help but evoke them. I just don't. I don't think you can help it.
You have a classroom's worth of missing children. It's one of the things that people's minds are going to go to, and I think that's just.
I mean, initially, it's such a fascinating thing. I think initially, when I first came out of it, I had a slight issue with the fact that it's so literally explained within the context of the story what was happening, i.e. it's magic, it's a witch, etc. But the more I've thought about it, actually, that's not the case, and it's very deliberate. This is not a mistake. This is part and parcel. It's using the imagery of fairy tales because, again, it's a child's account, right? It's a child's perspective. And not only that, the witch herself is not literal. She's not literal. She is this massive bag of symbols and metaphors. And on that level, honestly, I think it's one of the smartest films I've seen in it echoes in many respects Longlegs. It's very like Longlegs to me. It has a very similar feeling, a very similar structure, and it seems to have somewhat similar commentary going on as well in many respects. We are at this. I mean, you talked about Together earlier.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're eating rather well, aren't we?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I went to see 4 movies at the cinema in a week, and they were all genuinely bangers, right? not just good but brilliant. Yeah, bangers, I saw Together. I saw Life of Chuck, which that won't be everyone's cup of tea, but God, I loved it.
I mean, that's bombed, hasn't it? It's bombed hard. Yeah, I mean, critically done really well, right? People, critics love it. But in terms of audiences have not flocked to it, and
no, they haven't turned up for it.
That's a real shame because it is.
I think it's sad.
It's a lovely tonic for everything because The Life of Chuck is beautiful.
It is.
It's just it's lovely, lovely, gorgeous, brilliant, very without being schmaltzy or sentimental.
But this is the thing. I think maybe part of the reason it hasn't done well is because it's still actually fucking heavy.
Yeah.
It is about grief. It's about a loss. It's actually, I mean, the more I think about it, because it's very faithful to the novella, I think that's King trying to deal with his own mortality. I really think that's what Life of Chuck's about. It's King facing up to these amazing imaginary worlds and people that exist in his head are they're just gonna pop out of existence when he does, right?
Yeah.
And he's just it's like I think he, on some level, he thinks that's pretty fucked, and I agree with him for
I
the
totally
record. But
agree. Yeah, I mean, like,
that's mortality is just bullshit.
when
But
a human being dies, multiverses die with them, right?
right, exactly, and that's kind of, and so it's interesting where it is. I think Life of Chuck is kind of the definition of bittersweet,
Yeah.
right? And actually, I think the reason that you and I probably liked it so much is because it it's a kind of, it's almost like a kind of cheery nihilism, but there's definitely nihilism in it. It's definitely because it's about loss, it's about the end, it's about death, it's
And
about
it's
that
also
whole
about
thing.
like dealing with it, isn't it? It's about
Yeah,
confronting it and processing it in the most positive manner in which you can, the healthiest
sure.
manner in which you can.
Yeah. But ultimately, I guess as well, like the message of it is like, so make art, whatever that
Yeah.
means to
While
you,
you've got yeah, while you've got time.
whether that's dancing in the street or writing a book or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And I think, yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, but I'm not surprised it's not connected more widely with audiences actually,
Yeah.
because it is weird,
It is, and also
in
the
the best possible
season.
way.
I mean, I think the
Yeah.
season is wrong for it.
Yeah.
The appetite at the moment seems to be for this incredibly smart, incredibly confrontational horror.
Yeah. Because
You know?
the other movie I saw, and so I saw Weapons as well that week, but the other one I saw was Bring Her Back, and
Oh my
that's
god,
fucking
that
brilliant.
we must do that.
Yeah,
Some
that
Bring Her
was
Back
fucking
might.
fantastic.
Oh my god, Bring Her Back might be one of the best films I've seen in a decade.
It was so,
I mean,
what I loved about that was how fucking grimy that film was,
yeah.
man. That film had dirt under its fingernails.
And again,
So
I mean,
good.
films that deal with that subject matter, they often
Yeah,
have to work hard with me.
yeah,
For lots of, I mean, there is a
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like antithesis film at the cinema at the moment, which is the fucking Conjuring film that's out at the moment. I hate those films. I
Right.
hate their
Yeah, no,
guts.
no.
I hate them so much on
And this is
so many
because of like,
levels.
yeah, but primarily because they glorify a bunch of
Well,
charlatans
there is
and
that. There's that. That's a
sure.
huge part of it. But I just hate. I think they're crap. I think they're bad
Oh, okay,
films.
fair
I
enough.
think they're
Fair
bad
enough.
films. I think they're
Yeah.
bargain basement, metaphysically boring,
I mean, I
narrow-minded,
yeah,
fundamentalist Christian propaganda is what I think they are.
fair enough. I mean, I've never
Um,
seen any of them, so
they're
I'll take your
crap.
word for
They
it.
are.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's one of those things where
Right.
they're really popular. They're really
Yeah,
popular in
they are.
in the communities out there. They're really popular. I don't get it.
Sure.
I don't get it. The first Conjuring film is heralded as a classic at this point. I'm
Right.
like, it's just the Amityville Horror.
Sure.
It's just that. There
Yeah.
is nothing else to it. It is so boring. It's so predictable.
I
There's
mean,
good and there's bad. There's demons
yeah,
and there's these fucking occult superheroes they've made out of the Warrens. Um,
sure.
I I just don't understand. I don't understand the appeal. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a weird one. And I think, I mean, I only have the trailers to go on, but the other touchstone is it does look to me like films made by people who are fans of The Exorcist but don't really understand it.
Yes,
It feels like it's got that vibe to me where it's
yeah,
like, okay, but what if The Exorcist, but what if the goodies win? And it's like, no,
yeah.
you
It's like
just don't, no,
you're missing the
no,
point. Yeah.
no, don't do
And
that.
then
Just,
added on to that, you have the fact that it glorifies the Warrens and it makes them
sure,
into these
sure.
occult superheroes, and it's like they were cunts.
Yeah, no, they were
There's
vicious.
not a level of hell. There really
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
isn't.
yeah.
There just
Yeah.
isn't one deep enough for Elaine and Ed Warren.
But like, but to have like, yeah, to have, and a couple of weeks before that, we had 28 years later.
Yeah.
I'm still banging the drum for Clown on
Oh,
Cornfield. I
honestly, yep.
thought that was
Earlier, I
beautiful.
mean, we started the year out literally at the start of the year. We had Nosferatu,
Right, right,
which
right.
was
Yeah,
gorgeous. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it split the crowd. It really did. If you don't
Sure.
like Gothicism, you are not going to like it
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like, how much more Gothic could it be? And the answer is none. None more
Right,
Gothic.
right.
It's like, for me, it's that that luscious dessert that you sometimes get, which is just the best chocolate on top of the best chocolate on top of the
Sure.
best chocolate, and that's it. There's nothing
Right.
else to it. It's
Yeah,
death
yeah.
by chocolate. That's what Nosferatu. That's what Robert Eggers has done with Nosferatu.
Sure.
It is like,
yeah. And for some people, like three
sumptuous.
spoonfuls is enough, and for
Yeah.
others, it's like they're just going to polish and lick the plate, and it's
I'm in the latter camp with
Sure,
this one.
sure.
It's like, give me more, just give me all of that.
Yeah.
I thought it was it was delectable. It was
Yeah.
delectable, that film.
Yeah.
So we started off at the very beginning of the year, because
Sure.
I saw that on the 2nd of January. So,
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, very early on. And it's just been, in fact, no, even going further back, like into 2024, we had Longlegs at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had One Night with the Devil. We had
Mm.
oh, there was another one doing the rounds as well, which was not as successful.
Right.
In a Violent Nature.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. Not
That split the
100.
crowd as
It
well, didn't
did,
it?
and I can
Yeah.
see why. It is not 100% successful, but as a, I think it was a very cool and interesting idea.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I remember reading about that and thinking like, it's one of those films I was like, I probably don't need to see that, but it does
yeah,
sound conceptually interesting. Like,
it
I'm glad
is.
it
I mean,
exists, kind of
what
thing.
it does, what I found it does, because you are following effectively, it's Friday the 13th, and you're following the Jason character instead of the
Yeah.
campers. That's what it
Yeah.
is. You get these massive periods of silence when
Sure.
nothing is happening, and it
Yeah.
makes the moments of violence really lurid and
Right.
explosive and
Sure.
impactful. It loses itself towards the end. The third act is just like we
Bit of a
didn't know
mess.
what to do. We didn't know what to do to tie this up
Sure.
ultimately. But as an experiment, I thought it was really interesting, kind of
Yeah.
compelling,
Yeah.
in its own quiet way. But Weapons is
Yeah.
it's almost at the apex. I think this is one of the most interesting, one of the smartest films I've seen in
Yeah.
a donkey's age.
I mean, I loved seeing. I think I watched Weapons and Bring Her Back on back-to-back nights. I think I watched Bring Her Back one night and Weapons
God
the next. And I
almighty.
think I had the day I watched Bring Her Back was a double bill as well. I watched Together
Oh my
and Bring Her
God.
Back as a double bill, and that was. I mean, Together, I would say of the three movies is probably the lightest of the three in terms of fare, which
Well,
is
it's kind of a
it's
horror
not
comedy,
light.
isn't it?
Yeah, but
It's
it's
kind of
yeah.
funny, it's
Oh,
bleakly funny.
it's deliberately funny, and it's
Yeah.
very, very good in that sense too.
Yeah.
It's cleverly funny. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like I really appreciated the humor in Together. And I
Mhm.
tell you what, I'm not the way here to talk about that, but the other
Mhm.
thing I really, really loved about Together was the end, because
Yeah.
it made the whole thing like really powerfully ambiguous and ambivalent. Like you
Yes. I
think
mean,
this
like,
is going to be this huge thing, and you get to the end, you're like, oh
oh,
well,
it's not.
hmm,
I loved
what does that mean?
the rug
Great.
pull. The rug
Yeah, I
pull of
thought
the
that
whole
was
thing.
genuinely smart, like
Mhm.
genuinely. And again, I saw it twice because I enjoyed it enough that I took kiddo, and she had a great time with it as well.
Oh
So that was really
wow!
good.
Oh wow!
So that was good.
Excellent.
But then Bring Her Back just
Bring Her Back is like,
holy shit.
yeah,
And then to watch Weapons the next day and see something very, very different, but equally
but
brilliant.
yeah,
Just so good. And it was like, it's not just that we've got this incredible like volume of horror
mhm,
movies coming out. It's that they're that level of quality in
yeah,
that many different ways. Like,
different
and again,
ways. Yeah,
28 years later, again, different
right.
again, like reinventing the genre movie, the zombie movie for a whole new generation again, right?
Yeah,
And
one of the
right, okay,
most like
you
sincere
know,
post-Brexit horror films I've ever seen in my
yeah.
life.
Right, but also just on a horror level, chucking shit at you. Yeah, zombies get pregnant now. Deal with that.
Right?
Like
Yeah,
what?
ideas,
What?
ideas,
What are
ideas,
you fucking
ideas.
doing? Yeah,
My
all
man,
these ideas, and
you know,
I get people who were like, "Oh God, they didn't resolve it." Well, no, because it's part
well,
one of a trilogy. Like
yeah,
they
and
get to it.
also some of it doesn't need resolving.
No,
It's giving you
no.
the idea and it's making it resonant. That's what
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
doing,
yeah,
so that
yeah, yeah.
you kind of start to imagine what the outcome could be. I
And
mean,
that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think. Weapons and Bring Her Back have in common. That is the common
yes.
thread between the two of them. Is there's enough explanation that it
Yeah.
feels like you understand what's going on,
Mhm.
but it does not spoon feed you every
It
fucking
really
thing.
doesn't. And also, like, your understanding will change the more you watch it. There are so
Yeah,
many
yeah, yeah,
different
yeah,
potential things going on in this
yep,
film,
yeah,
deliberately so. And in that regard, I mean, this is my kind of storytelling. This is like, give me all of this. It's not
yeah,
condescending. It's not pat. It's not sort of like glib. It's not simplistic. It's treating its
yeah,
audience with incredible respect, and that's
yep,
something, I mean, like, that's in short supply. That
yeah,
is in real
absolutely.
short supply media in general at the moment. I mean, I was talking to Jack about it recently, and he described it in terms of, like, the grey sludge scenario, the grey goo scenario.
Yeah,
And he was saying,
yeah,
well, that's kind of happening, but not in a literal sense. It's happening in a cultural sense.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah, it
but
really
you're
is.
getting these incredible explosions, these eruptions of beauty and sincerity and like
Yeah.
brilliant art.
Yeah, yeah.
It's inspiring. It's inspiring and it's intimidating. I mean,
And it has to be
weapons.
happening in the horror genre too, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
it's so
right.
great that that's where it's
It's
happening.
so cool that it's happening in horror.
Yeah.
Long may it continue. I hope this trend, and it looks like it's going to. We've got lots in the pipeline. There's lots
Right.
that's coming later that looks to be very interesting.
But
Um,
also, like, I mean, again, super exciting. Lots of stuff that as well. I mean, 28 years is a trilogy. That's fine. I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm excited about it. But so much of this it's all original.
yeah,
I
right.
mean, that was the thing for me about seeing. I mean, leaving 28 years off the list, but seeing like Together, Bring Her Back, and Weapons,
Right.
like within the space of a couple of days, I'd be like, that's three fucking original ideas. Like, I
Phenomenally
mean,
original concepts, right?
right. I mean, like, because you're right. Like, Weapons told linearly is a fairy tale, and it is like in that sense, it's a very traditional bit of storytelling.
Mhm.
Although it's a fairy tale, it's worth remembering. Like the Brothers Grimm fairy tales were horror stories aimed at children to make them behave.
Exactly right.
Weapons is a horror story aimed at adults
Telling
to
them,
tell us about
yeah,
stop fucking your kids
stop
up.
fucking
I
your
mean, that's
kids up.
so great,
I mean,
right?
the
That's
final
so
image
great.
of Gladys being devoured by the kids, right, being ripped
Oh my
apart by the
god.
kids. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, that chase sequence where it's following her and you get the POV shots where she's jumping through windows. And also, by the way, they're crashing through the neighborhood through
Yes.
families. They're crashing through
Yes.
domestic spaces, right?
That's right.
Bursting
Yeah.
out of windows, again, disrupting the status quo.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's
It's so cool.
so good.
And also the moment when Archer follows, when the spell breaks and Archer follows
Yeah.
the trail of destruction, there's an amazing moment where his family are like, they're like, what the hell just happened? They're like, oh my God, there's another one. There's a crazy, but like, and it, oh God, so good. But that was the return of the tracking shot too. That's the
Yes.
final track. And it is immense, that fucking thing. It's like,
It's
oh my God.
good. I was
Yes. So
laughing
good.
and I was
Mm.
laughing at the way the camera was moving because
Yeah.
it
It was
felt
breathless, wasn't it? It was
right.
just, yeah.
It's like
Oh,
it
it's,
doesn't stop. She keeps
no.
going. Like they don't
Yeah.
catch her quickly. It takes her.
Yeah.
She puts on, for an old sick gal, she puts on a fair
Tell
old
you
turn
what.
of speed, doesn't she?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's
Oh
amazing what adrenaline will
wow.
do when it's life and death. But
I know,
also the
right?
whole thing. I mean, that's all awesome. But also for me, it's the fact that the whole thing is triggered by the kid himself, right?
Alex, right. Alex. I
Alex,
mean,
that's Alex's plan for getting it. And it's like, Alex, I
Alex
fucking
is
love you, kid, but you
Alex
are
is a
hardcore.
he's a fantastic character because again,
Yeah.
he's a character who could have so easily become too sort of like victimized. He could have been
Yeah.
too narrow.
Yeah.
He's a quiet kid. He's a sort of like he's a sensitive kid.
He's a bullied kid,
He's a bullied kid. Yeah, he's
you know?
creative. We know that. He's smart.
Yeah.
He could have so easily been a stereotype. And
Yeah.
actually, once again, it's the framing, but it's also the acting. Bloody Norman.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the kid's brilliant. The kid is
Bloody
so
hell.
good.
Oh my God. I mean, all the kids are great in this. I mean, this
Yeah.
is, and he is the star of the show. He's the absolute star of the
100%.
show. It's
And I
the,
love the fact that they know that and they hold him back, right? And
yeah.
then you finally get that caption up on the screen, Alex, and you're like, oh shit! Now we're going to find out what's
Now
going
we're
on.
going to see. Now we're actually going to find out what's going on in that
So
bloody
good.
house, right?
Right. And oh man, I mean, we didn't mention it earlier, like the sequence where the parents start stabbing themselves in the faces with the forks.
Again, it's the framing of because it's not
shit.
extreme violence, right?
Nope.
It's
No.
really not compared to what some other stuff, but it's one of the most disturbing scenes in the entire thing. I mean,
For me, it's also it is the domesticity of it. It's not, these are forks.
Yeah.
These are the tools that we used to eat with. They are in a house every day, and suddenly they are weapons of self-injury.
Yeah.
Like the layers of, symbolism there and meaning there.
Oh, they're all sat around the dinner table. He's telling them to stop, and they can't help themselves. They're harming themselves.
That's right.
I mean, it just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? It's so dense. It's so deep. It's beautiful. I love that.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
The balls on the thing as well. Some of the more extreme violence, shooting it in these big, bright spaces.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, it's kind of off camera, but the way that Marcus murders his husband or living partner,
oh
whatever,
dear,
like,
oh Jesus,
holy shit, that's intense.
Jesus, that's. Yeah. I mean, you know something's going to
Yeah,
go down because you've seen Marcus at that point
sure.
in his sort of,
Right, we already know where he's going to
yeah,
go, right? Yeah, but
but you don't quite know how or why or what the
oh,
context is of this, you know.
yeah,
Um, and
so
again, it's
impressive.
this notion of the disease spreading to everyone who comes into contact with it, right?
Right,
It's a
right.
mimetic sickness. It's a cultural sickness that's happening here.
Yeah,
It's this idea.
yeah,
It's the notion of ideas as sickness, right?
sure.
Really, so fascinating. So fast. I mean,
Yeah,
and you get that embodied in Gladys in so many ways. There are little things people say that demonstrate the non-literal nature of the narrative. So, like at the beginning, in the meeting, when
yeah.
Marcus is defending Justine, he says something along the lines of anger is understandable, particularly in situations of abandonment.
Right,
What a
right, right.
strange use
Such
of
a
the
yeah,
term,
yeah,
right? Because that,
yeah.
I mean, ostensibly, taken literally, he's obviously talking about the fact that the children kind of abandon their families. But that's a very
Right.
strange way of putting it.
It's one of those things that
Taken,
like it's like a mechanically accurate word to use,
yeah,
but it's right, but emotionally it's
it has.
completely wrong.
It
It's
hits a bit
completely wrong.
different, doesn't it? It hits a
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
different. The reason is the abandonment he's talking about is the abandonment of the children. It's
Right.
not the abandonment. It's the abandonment of, it's the fact that the children left for a reason.
Yeah.
It's almost
And
a
that
finger
reminds
pointing. It's almost a
yeah,
finger
yeah, yeah.
pointing.
Absolutely. And whether intentionally or subconsciously or whatever
Right.
as well. I mean, that's but the other that reminds me of the other interesting thing, which I went back and forth on when I first came out of the movie. The only thing that slightly annoyed me
Mhm.
was the notion that not that Archer figured out the idea of tracing the direction the kids were running in.
Mhm.
It was the idea that no one else had thought of that. Because you get to a
Oh,
point where
right.
it's been like what, a week or two these
Yeah.
kids have been missing, and you sit and genuinely when I came out, I was like, are we seriously saying like no one in the cops just
Right.
went, why don't we draw a straight line on a map and
Yes.
see if we?
We.
But then
Yeah.
I kind of the more I thought about it, the more I was like, would they think of that?
Mm,
Would they think of that?
right.
I
And
don't know because like,
and
do
you
they have that
are
level of imagination to even,
right. And you are
Yeah,
given that portrait of what, of the
yeah,
cops as people and as inept people at that,
yeah, yeah,
through Paul, yeah?
yeah,
And through what,
absolutely,
those dynamics. And they do seem to be profoundly disinterested, don't they? I mean, like they are
yeah,
more interestingly, you get this whole notion of like systems being weaponized against the culture
sure,
they're designed to protect, right? I mean, I imagine Archer is being a pain in the ass, right? But he's a dad
sure,
whose kid has run away, who's gone
yeah,
missing, and there's these weird. You understand why he's obsessing about this, right?
right,
And
eh,
the way the police chief talks to him,
yeah,
it's reasserting authority. It's not we're doing everything we can. It's you are
yeah.
not in charge here.
And I think it's very cleverly handled, seeing that as well, because from the police captain's perspective, he is still trying to be sympathetic, and he makes the
Yeah,
point later on to Paul, like, if it was my kid, I'd be going out of my fucking mind. I'd be down there every day.
absolutely.
It's okay. Like I'll have that conversation with him every day.
Yeah,
It's fine. Like they're not. He's not inhuman. It's way more interesting than that. But yeah, no, it's so good. It's so, and I do, and it was like when I first came out, I was like, I don't know about that. But the
yeah,
more I thought about it over days, I'm like, no, I think that's part of
yeah.
the point. Is they fucking
And
wouldn't. They
actually,
just
I
wouldn't.
mean, if you, I mean, I love true crime. One, I'm a big
Sure.
fan of that stuff. When you, I mean, it sounds awful to say, but when you look at the way the cops do handle these situations, particularly American cops, it has to be said, they are
Mm.
inept. A lot of the time they are
No,
fucking inept. And they
I
don't
mean,
do these obvious things. They do miss these blindingly obvious
yeah.
things they're supposed to do,
Because it's
Um,
not, it wouldn't, the thing about that is it wouldn't be part of standard procedure because nothing in standard procedure covers what's happened here.
right, because it's so
And I,
outside of any context, right, or
and I,
precedent.
right. And I almost feel like it's a commentary on the cops of like, and again, a commentary on rationality maybe as well, of like that thing of
Mm,
like, you look at that scenario and the cops, the cops can't imagine that it's what it is. They can't
No,
imagine
of
it's a
course.
magic spell that has summoned all the kids. So of course they're not going to
Right.
trace the line that kids are running, because it's not
Right.
germane. Because we need to find
Well,
out what influenced them, right? What
yeah.
TV show did they watch, or what music did they
Yes.
listen
Or
to
who
that
are they?
made
What
them do
I don't
it?
know. What cult
Yeah,
leader is
yeah. What
manipulating them?
website, what app, what fucking
Yeah.
exactly? What's the bogeyman of the week, right?
Hmm.
And they're too busy trying to pursue all that shit to even
Yeah.
think about, like, let's just look at what's happened.
Yeah.
Let's map it out. Let's figure it out. And I love that. Again, I love the decision to give that to Archer to do
Yeah.
that. Like, he
And it,
has that
you know,
dream, and it's almost like a breakthrough for him, like a
yes.
psychological, emotional breakthrough. He's like, no, fuck it. I'm actually going to
Mm.
do something,
And the
which of
way
course
he,
mirrors what Justine Gandy's been doing. She's,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
She's
it's
been
really,
doing it from an empathetic perspective,
mm,
He's doing it from a logical perspective, which is really
yeah,
interesting, from a builder's
yeah,
perspective, from someone who
yeah.
understands how things work.
Right, an
Um,
architect, right?
an
Yeah, no,
architect, yeah,
that's so good. It's so
isn't
good.
it? It's so
Yeah,
cool, right? It's so
yeah.
cool. Um,
And we haven't really
and
talked about it, but just briefly, like, how fucking awesome is James as a character?
oh, I mean, James, he doesn't figure it out per se, but he stumbles into the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, against all the people who are actively trying to find these kids to work out what's happened, he accidentally stumbles into the
Oh,
truth.
so great. It's so
Um,
great.
yeah, and that's
I
again one of the more terrifying scenes as well. I mean, the images of the
holy
parents
shit.
sat on the sofa.
That's it, right? It's not actually when they move, it's when they're
No,
just sat there.
it's
It is so fucking scary.
yeah, it's so unsettling. It's again,
And
it's
also,
that.
like, yeah, go on.
No, 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 go on.
I was just say it's also allied to that is the insanity, but the believable insanity of James, where he immediately freaks out and then
Yeah,
just carries on burgling them.
yeah.
Because if they're going to sit there, fuck it, I still got to
Well,
eat.
why not? Right?
Like,
Yeah.
fucking
Again, I
hell,
mean,
man.
he's a very good portrayal of addiction. Is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
James, because
Absolutely.
the addiction, overrides all. That's the nature of it. That's the
And
nature of
the
it. It's
pathological lying.
yeah.
And, this is a guy who lies just like breathing.
Oh,
It's just a
absolutely. Yeah.
natural response at this
I mean,
point.
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Addiction is it's a serious psychological disease, and it needs
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
treating with sympathy and respect. But one of the things any therapist or counselor will tell you is do not trust an addict.
No.
Because they will the addiction has overtaken them in the same way that that Gladys's
Yeah, yeah,
spell overtakes everyone and they can't do
yeah.
anything about it.
That's it.
Um,
Yeah.
they can't help
No, it's super
themselves, and that's
smart.
so true of James. That's so true. I mean, ultimately, it ends up being his downfall.
But I love how James is like, because I love characters like James. I love
Mm.
characters that are just kind of, just uh they're not necessarily bad people, but they're weak people, and they're on a
Yes.
they're like an inexorably self-destructive
Yeah.
course. Like, actually, from show we hopefully we'll be getting back to at some point, like Juice is a great example of one of those kinds of characters,
Yeah. Oh,
where it's
Juice
like
is yeah.
like
Absolutely.
he's weak fundamentally,
Yeah.
he's morally weak, as
Mm.
well as having problems, legit problems as well, but like it's that thing of, like, beyond a certain point there is a drive to self-destruction, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that keeps putting them in these positions, that keeps making it worse. And addiction is one of those things, especially
Yeah.
substance abuse. It's one of those things, like, you are, on some level, I think most serious addicts of a life altering drug like alcohol or heroin or whatever, like, they know they're circling the drain, and some of
Oh
them, they know
yeah,
they're killing themselves.
of course.
You
It
know,
just doesn't matter. I mean,
right?
addiction is such it's very like abuse. It's really interesting
Yeah, yeah,
psychologically.
yeah.
It defends
Absolutely.
itself. The parasite, the disease, the infection
Yeah,
rationalizes and justifies itself in the same way every mental illness does. I mean, depression is the same, right?
sure, sure,
The
sure.
thing about depression is that it feels rational.
Oh yeah, you
It
convince yourself
tricks
you're
you.
seeing the world in a way
Yeah,
that other people aren't, because they're not really paying
yeah.
attention.
It
There
feels
is an arrogance to it, for sure.
totally. It feels
Yeah,
absolutely rational and it feels
yeah,
justified. And
yeah,
that's the whole thing, right? That's the thing about these parasites. That's the thing about it.
yeah,
It's a really good metaphor in many respects. It
yeah,
really works, showing you the cordyceps taking over the ant, etc.
yeah. No,
That's
it's really
very
clever.
much what it's like, and it alters your perceptions, and it ultimately
Yeah,
it devours your identity. It take
yeah.
in extremis, as it does for Alex's parents. I mean, that's the other thing, right? Alex doesn't get
Right.
his happily ever after for however brave he
No,
is. He doesn't get his happily ever after. His parents never make it. They end up in
Um,
they are
they're
catatonic,
still
aren't they?
comatose, right? They're still
Yeah,
catatonic at least at the end of the first year, right? So we don't
yeah,
know. There's maybe hope for this, but I tell you what, though, I mean that's true. But I love that shot of him on his knees holding
yeah.
his two parents to
It's
him,
so good.
and the look on his face is
Hmm.
just amazing. Like it's a great because no, he didn't get his happily ever after, but he did survive,
Yeah, and
and
also,
they
I mean,
survived,
he
and that
didn't
was
get his
him.
happily ever after, but he gained his power, didn't he? I mean, that's the other thing with
Yeah,
Alex.
yeah,
He became extremely strong through this. I mean, like, and
yeah.
of course, I mean, a whole world's been opened up to him as well because he now knows there's magic
Right.
and whatnot,
And he can work it,
and that he
right, for
can do
whatever
it.
reason.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a sort of dark potential there, isn't there?
sure. I
If
mean,
you know it's there.
if anyone's listening, by the way, I don't need a sequel. It's fine,
No,
but
no,
let our collective
this
imaginations just play it out for ourselves. But it is great. You're
this
right. So
yeah,
yeah,
right.
who does he grow up to be? What's that?
And again, it's
Yeah,
the nature of addiction, right? If you know it's
right.
there,
Yeah.
and it's like could just do
I
this.
tell you what. I tell you what. You can do a sequel to Weapons in 30 years in the same way they did with Doctor Sleep. I'll allow that with
Fine, yeah,
like a 45-year-old, but leave it 30 years,
yeah,
right? For
yeah,
real, leave it 30 years. Because apart from anything else, I want this filmmaker to go on and make tons more like original stuff,
yes,
right?
absolutely.
Because
And of course, I mean, what will
this is
happen if they
so
make a
good.
sequel to this? They will, and it happens so many times when you have these wonderful films that are not designed to be taken literally. They'll make it literal. They'll make it
Yeah,
absolutely literal, and they'll have
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
justify and explain. You'll get a backstory for
Yeah,
Gladys, and
they'll
you,
they'll glorify the whole thing, and it's
yeah,
just
and it's like,
just death. Yeah, it's not necessary.
please don't do that. You know, just
No.
please don't do that. Do not like live action Disneyfy it.
Yeah, because you told the
Ultimately,
story you wanted to tell and you smashed it. I mean, they
smashed it out
knocked
the
it out of
park.
the park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
yeah,
I mean, you know, it was so technically brilliant that for a while
yeah,
after I was kind of blinded by it. I had to
yeah.
like, I was so amazed at how technically brilliant and apt the film was that
Absolutely.
I had to take
So skillfully made. Yeah,
a while to get over that so I could actually start thinking about the themes and the ideas and whatnot because
yeah,
it blinded me. I was like, fuck it, you are kidding me.
yeah.
You are
And the thing is, as well,
absolutely
like,
kidding me that this
uh,
exists.
and just to put a finger on it as well, because we've talked around it, and I mean, we may have said it, but I want to make sure like we hit it dead on here. Like, part of the reason it's brilliant is because, as you were saying at the start, like it's one of those rare occasions where it is technically it's actually technically quite challenging, although it doesn't look it for the most part. It's very smooth, but like technically, this is a very accomplished bit of
Oh
filmmaking.
my god.
But also, part of the reason it's so brilliant is because every technical decision that's made, as well as every narrative decision that's made, like the time structure and the way the
Mhm.
story, the way the narrative is fragmented over the six perspectives, is in the service of the story and the themes of the story.
Yeah.
It's all pulling in the same direction. It's not like, because, like on one level, you could describe Weapons as, okay, so basically it's a fairy tale,
Mhm.
modern day set fairy tale with an evil witch, but
Yep.
it's told with a fractured time frame, which means that the reveals happen at certain. It's like that's true. That's an accurate description of
Mhm.
what's happening here, but it doesn't get at the guts of why it's
No.
so fucking brilliant because
No.
the structural form reveals the narrative, but it also reveals the themes, and it's also redolent of the themes.
Yeah.
Because one of the things about addiction is like addiction is one of the more extreme versions of this, of that fundamental truth. Like, you do not know what is going on behind someone's eyes. You do not
Right.
know what is going behind closed doors. You never ever know anyone
Yeah.
except maybe yourself a
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
and even that, right?
Even
There's some
that is
asterisks there,
questionable, right? Yeah.
but you're the person you've got the best shot at ever
Yeah.
knowing in any way. Everyone else, forget it. It's
Yeah.
fucking it's a blank slate, and
Yeah.
like the structure, because again, it's that thing of like, that's the reason why it takes you like four characters into the narrative before you finally get your head around who the cop even is, who
Right.
Paul even
Paul. I
is
mean,
for real.
I think Paul is probably the best example of this because
Yeah,
when you first see him in Justine's story, you get an entirely false or wrong impression of what he's about.
yeah,
You know, either because of the framing of the film, because of the situation, and because you only get that window
Yeah,
That
yeah,
one
that's right.
snapshot of the guy, you need to
Yeah,
see more. You need to see
yeah.
who he is in different contexts to get a bead on him.
And it kind of complicates Justine as well, right, Again, because there's that thing of like when you first see
Does it
that kind
off?
of what ends up being the seduction scene between them, you think
Yeah.
like, oh well, fair enough. She really likes him. He's clearly good
Mm.
looking. Like, and that whole thing about like I'm not going to have a drink, and you're just like you're having a drink, dude.
Mm-hmm,
Like we all
mm-hmm.
know you're having a drink.
Yeah.
But when you find out he's in recovery, and then it's like, does she know he's in recovery? Because
And
if she does, that's definitely a dick move.
yeah, it
Like,
is,
but
isn't
she
it? Yeah.
probably doesn't, right? He's
Mm-hmm,
probably lied to her about, or just not told her
mm-hmm.
that he's got a drink problem. That's the most
Possibly.
likely explanation, I
Yeah.
think. But like
However,
the
maybe
layers are
not,
there,
right?
right? Right. The
Yeah.
layers are there. It's really, really smart.
Again,
It's
it's
really
this
smart
this
filmmaking.
notion of complex. These people are human.
Yeah.
They're
And
human
that
in
great,
a.
the other end of the spectrum, but that great gag where like you see from Paul's perspective, James turn up at the police station and start running away, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? But then you see that from James, the moment when he sees the poster on the wall for the
Yes.
missing kids and the size of the reward, that's just really funny.
Yeah.
Because
It
you don't
really
need
is.
anything else. And again, the storytelling's so smart because you just see that and then it just cuts to him running towards the police station. You're like, yeah, of course.
Of
That's why he was going.
course,
Like,
right.
so good.
It is, again,
So
it's
good.
the thing the film does again and again and again, where it introduces characters in very strange areas and contexts, and you don't really understand why
Yeah.
they're there or what they're doing. And it seems almost self-destructive, right? Why
Yep.
on earth would James go to the police station after Paul had told him, in no
Yeah.
uncertain terms?
If I ever see you again, this is going to be
Yeah,
bad news for you. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. But then
But
again, yeah, it's like junky logic.
yeah,
The
fifty thousand
money,
pounds? Are you kidding me?
it's like, yeah, off we go.
Obviously, right?
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so clever. And the movie just does it again and again. The storytelling moments that come back from the different angle and suddenly you get what's going on. I mean, I love, God, how much do I love that? A little aside where like, Gandhi actually basically threatens the principal with like, this is a safeguarding issue.
Yeah,
I will report this as a say. And he's just like, oh, you are not going there. And she's like, yeah, I'm going there. He's like,
I'm
all
going
right,
there.
I'll meet the fucking parents then,
Uh-huh.
you lunatic. But it's right. Like, that's so great.
She is right, though. I mean,
Right.
she is right. There are. I mean, okay,
That's it.
yeah, professionally, maybe she is getting a little too involved. And given that she's already
Sure.
been sort of, suspended but not suspended,
Sure.
it is. It's maybe a boundary too far, right? She's pushing. She's
Well,
really pushing it.
What's brilliant about that scene is when we see it from her perspective in the first part of the movie, it feels like, Jesus Christ, woman, like you are just setting yourself up for trouble.
Yeah.
Not necessarily she's wrong, but she's setting herself up for trouble, right? Like this is not good. By the time we see that scene for the second time from Marcus's perspective, the school principal, it's like, oh shit, dude.
Yeah.
You really need to get involved because by then we've seen so much more of what's going on. It's like, yeah, she is so, and I love that because to me, that's a commentary on like this whole thing about like, we don't believe victims. We don't believe and again, not to go too far, but like every single like set of safeguarding rules that exists around children, some of which I'm sure to people coming to it fresh may feel a bit onerous if you're coming in as a TA or it's like, really, I've got to have this level of background check, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Yeah. Behind every single bit of legislation around this, there is a fucking horror story.
Oh, you
every single one there is, and that's why. That's why, because most of this is like, you want to like one of the most like ugly truths, but it is true. Like not all, but a good percentage, I don't know, 50, 60% of child deaths, like when they're murdered by, abusive parents or whoever, like 50 to 60% of them, they were on the fucking radar.
They're on the radar, yeah.
Someone knew they were in the system, and it is like, every time it happens, every time it happens, someone loses their job and that's fine. But also every time it happens, I know from people who work in that sector, what happens is a bunch of people go in a room and they say, okay, what fucking happened here?
Yeah.
And they go over
they also have the conversation, how can we spin this?
Sure.
What narrative can we put out there? The higher ups. That's the language,
yeah. But that's interesting that you say that, yeah, because that's the split. The higher ups want to know what happened so they can figure out how to spin it. But the people actually doing the work, though, what they do instead is go through it and go, right, how does this never fucking happen
Yeah.
again?
The
What are
funny
the
thing
warning
is that,
signs that we missed?
yeah,
What are the, and then new process comes out of that.
yeah,
Like they change the way they do their jobs,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the narrative on for the people on the ground is always, we kind of know. It's the lack of
Right,
it's the lack of funding, and it's the lack of
right,
staff, and it's the lack of oversight.
right.
That's what
Yeah,
it
no,
is.
that's it. No,
That's always what
absolutely,
it is.
absolutely.
Um,
Um,
but no, you are.
yeah,
It is so interesting. It recontextualizes what Gandhi is doing, which looks, in
yeah,
the early chapters of the film, it looks like you are gonna get sent to hell, woman. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
also it is creepy. It is too
Mm,
involved. It is
yeah,
strange that you are
yeah,
hanging around and you are following this kid. You know,
yeah.
after this event where almost your entire class has disappeared, and as the audience, it leaves you without context. It leaves you thinking, hmm,
What is up with you? Because this is not
hmm.
right. You're not flying straight right now. Yeah, it's
On
really
the other
clever.
hand, she herself is at risk as a result of all these contexts, and
Sure.
she still cares enough to try and figure
Right,
out what the hell is
right.
going on here.
Well, and that's
So
where the fact that the ultimate, although that they are on opposite sides for like 2/3 of the movie, that's why and there's a lot, actually, that's something we haven't talked about. There's a lot of mirroring in this film, right?
oh my
Like
god.
Archer and Justine are mirrors. They are mirror images of
Hmm.
each other. Paul and
And
James are
James,
mirrors
yeah.
of each other. And that, those, it's really smart how
Hmm.
the way the film reveals to you that Archer is doing what Justine's doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then because of how he does it and because of the additional information you have by that point in the movie, you suddenly have a lot more sympathy for Archer than you did to start with. And also
Totally.
you have more sympathy for Justine because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, right. Yeah, this is
As
fun.
as one entity, when they're working in simpatico, they figure it out. They
Right,
they
right.
they get the solution. And
Yeah.
it's this interesting commentary upon reconciling one's emotions, even when you're at the most extreme state, when something truly awful has gone down.
I'll tell you
Um,
the other, yeah. And I'll tell you the other thing I love about the storytelling in this film is that, and because I like you, I've seen a lot of scary movies, and
mhm.
I don't mind when something happens in a scary movie and it isn't explained or it isn't paid
No,
off in a bigger way. I'm all
not at
right
all.
with that. I think it can work very well, but I fucking love when it feels like a movie like Weapons, where it feels like a fucking Swiss watch.
Yeah,
Like everything pays off, everything is
everything works.
connected,
Yeah,
it's all linked in, it's all interconnected. There's purpose behind every
yeah.
shot. There's purpose, but because like, I was thinking about like the hair cutting scene. It was a brilliant scene. It was
Hmm.
incredibly creepy. It was skin crawling, but it also fucking paid off
Yeah.
so well,
You
so
get
well.
a mechanism, don't you? You know, it's
Yes,
really cool. It's really clever, and that's true of everything. It's like
exactly.
everything, I'm
Yeah,
sure
everything in
when
a
I
film
watch
does
this
that.
film again, I'm going to see all sorts. I'm going to see
I
loads of
yeah,
stuff in Matthew's room, and in the classroom, and in the bar even, that's all
yeah,
going to tie
absolutely.
into what's happening and what the
I
themes
mean,
are.
I
It's
can't wait to watch the bar seduction scene again from Justine's point of
mm,
view, knowing how it looks from Paul's point of view. I
right.
want to know how, I want to even know if it's shot. I mean, it's shot from different angles,
It
but
is, yeah.
I wonder even if Justine looks slightly differently when we're seeing her through Paul's
Oh
eyes, because
wow.
it feels like her body language is slightly different when we're looking at
Hmm.
her from Paul's. And I might be projecting onto it. It might just be because the angle's different and what have you.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, but I bet they're not the same take because they're
I'll
different
bet.
camera angles. So I bet they shot that scene twice at the very least. And
Yeah.
I love that because again, it's like that's the intelligence of the filmmaking. Like, yeah, that scene does look different if you're Paul to how it
Yes.
looks. You're Justine. They are different. They're different. And again, one of the messages of the film is like it's through multiple perspectives. That's the only
Mhm.
chance you've got at seeing a glimpse of a wider truth.
Yes.
With your blinkers on, fucking forget it, man. You haven't got
Yeah.
a prayer.
Operating in isolation, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's yeah.
Which again, you want to talk about the commentary. That's the nuclear family. That's the disease of the nuclear family. Is the
Yeah.
isolation, and that's where the abuse happens because it's where it can happen. There's no oversight. There's no grandparents. There's no cousins. There's no uncles. There's no,
Hmm.
there's not that big extended support network to kind
Yes.
of keep an eye out for these kids. So you're at the mercy of two overworked, underpaid, exhausted,
Yeah.
stressed out fucking people. Like,
Oh
it's
my
not,
God. I want to
it
get
ain't
Jack in on
healthy.
this at some point. I want him to watch this film, don't you?
Oh God, yeah.
Can
I
you
mean,
imagine? I think
I'm
he'd
kind
love
of,
it.
I'm kind of evangelical about. I want everyone to watch
Yeah.
this film. It's
Yeah.
just really fucking good. It's like
I'm
them
gonna,
they're still making really fucking good horror movies, kids, and this is great. You
yeah,
know,
I
this is a good
am.
thing.
I mean, we've already got our theme for Spooktober. It's going to be science fiction horror, so I don't
Oh,
think
nice.
this necessarily fits the bill as such. But I am going to
No,
get them. I'm going to have a second conversation because I want to get Jack's perspective on
yeah,
this. I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
I think yeah, I think he's going to have a lot to say about this film.
I think it'll do some stuff for him. I think it's really. I just think it's exquisitely put together.
Oh, it's
You know,
beautiful. I
I
mean,
keep coming back to that. Yeah,
again, it's one of those pieces of work where I find myself incredulous. You know, I
yeah,
almost cannot believe that it exists in the way that it exists.
yeah. No, it's
It
fantastic.
blindsided me. I mean,
Yeah,
I saw, having seen the trailers and having watched a couple of reviews of it that didn't spoil it, I was like,
sure.
oh yes, oh this sounds so up
Yeah,
my alley. This sounds so interesting. And having seen it, though, I mean, it was so much more than I
yeah,
thought it was going to be. I mean, that's a lovely thing, isn't it? When you have preconceptions about
absolutely.
something and then it actually turns out to be very different from what you thought, but better, even
Yeah,
more.
no, I agree. I was really thrilled by that, and I actually, although perhaps not quite in the same scale, but maybe we'll book in a return bout so we can talk about it. I felt that way about Bring Her Back as well.
Yeah, because I knew almost nothing about Bring Her Back other than the
Yeah,
fact that people were going ape about it.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
like, I evangelically just
sure.
rapturous about this film.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think I'd seen one trailer, and that was a very good trailer
Hmm.
because it not only did it not have anything from the final 2/3 of the movie, but it actually gave some really good misdirection.
Yeah.
Which was helpful because it just meant that when I saw the shots in context, I was like, oh no,
Ah,
this is whatever this is. It's not what I thought it was going to be.
yeah, which is always the
Um,
loveliest thing, isn't it?
oh,
I
it's just
love that
great.
so much. Yeah, and I mean, it's an unpleasant film. It's,
Oh,
I found Bring Her Back more disturbing than Weapons.
I think so. Well, it's
Um,
grimy, right? There's a kind
yeah,
of like, I mean, you talk about that feeling of like certain movies where you feel like, when we talked about it with Hellraiser 2, right? That you
yeah,
kind of feel a little
texture.
soiled on the inside after watching it.
Yeah.
And I also, I mean, not to do, if we're going to do a return bout, I won't carry on now. But like,
Mhm.
one of the things I loved was how Bring Her Back felt like a love story to like the video nasties of the
Mm.
80s. And the way it
Oh,
explicitly visually linked back to that with the VHS tapes from the,
yes.
like, it was just like, oh, this is so good. Because I don't know about you, but for me, I had a really visceral reaction to
Yeah.
that because I remembered watching poor standard, like
Yeah.
zombie flesh eaters or whatever, and just being
Oh,
like, that's what it looked like. Fuck me, this is really scary. Like,
yeah.
oh, so
Oh
good.
my, yeah. It
So
has
good.
this odd nostalgia, which is
Mm,
not. I mean, it's unsettlingly nostalgic. It's
yeah, yeah,
bizarre,
yeah.
isn't it? Sort
It's
of
very clever.
evoking. It's evoking an experience and also a dead experience, right? It's an
Yes.
experience that can never be had except when you get films like this that deliberately evoke it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just think how neatly that ties in with the themes of what the whole fucking movie is about. I mean, it's
Yeah, right.
smart.
It's
That is
hauntological,
another
isn't
film.
it?
Yeah,
Ultimately,
it's
it's
I
hauntological. It's
think
really clever.
I think because of so much of what Bring Her Back does is on the surface, and I don't mean that as a criticism, I mean
Mm,
it's on the screen, and that's a good thing. Like, it's a
yeah.
film. You should be able to see what's going on. It's easy to miss that in its own way, there's definitely quite a lot going on under the hood of that one.
Oh,
Like,
oh.
there really are. There's some really impressive, and again, stuff about, in that case, it's more
Mhm.
about, like, it's about grief and loss, right?
Yeah,
And it's about, but it's there. And again,
but
look at
there's.
that, right? Like, so we've got like Weapons, which is doing this
Yeah.
massive thing about like addiction and
Hmm.
abuse and the nuclear family. You
Yeah.
got Together, which is about what, when does
Codependency
is it
and
is it about codependency, or is it about idealized
yeah,
romanticism? Like, where is the line? What
yeah,
is that? Is
right.
one person's codependency another person's perfect relationship, right?
Right,
And then
right.
and then you got Bring Her Back, which is like, really, we are going to dig in now on grief. We're going to dig in on loss and disability as well. I mean, like,
Oof.
we are really going to go to town on this shit, and
Yeah,
we're really going to make you think
yeah.
about what you feel and about what you think you would do and what you would actually do. And Jesus
I'm
fucking
trying
great.
to
It's so
think.
great.
I'm just trying to think of the last time we had this kind of explosion, this eruption of genuinely brilliant,
Yeah.
smart horror.
And
It's
by the way,
been a long time.
it has been a long time. Also, none of it, like, I think of all the movies we talked about tonight, like 28 years later is probably the only one that was running on like a traditional movie type budget,
Yeah,
right? Like that was a moderately big budget movie, right? But the others, I mean, Weapons is not a cheap movie, but it's nowhere
no,
near
but
as an
it's
expensive movie as it looks.
no.
Like,
I mean, it is. This was a low budget, big
yeah,
budget film.
low-ish.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
essentially. You
exactly
know,
right. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's
you know what I
that's
mean.
a good way of putting it. Well, okay, I've just looked it up. 28 million. Sorry, $38 million budget for
38
weapons.
million.
Yeah,
Actually, that's still small. That's not.
yeah,
That's
it's
not.
not. Yeah,
That's kind of chump
exactly.
change compared to
It.
some of the, what's
I
out
mean,
there at the moment.
it looks like four times that. It
Oh my god,
looks amazing.
it's a really good example of how you just need the right people, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
involved. It
And I
looks
think, yeah,
incredible.
no, it looks spectacular. And I'm sure Together was an even lower budget than that, and they spent
Yeah.
basically all of it on the effect shots. But that's
Hmm.
because they had to, because that's what
Yeah.
those are the big moments. And again, how cool is it to see an effect shot you haven't seen a million times? Right? Just see
I-
some of the effect shot together. I was like, what the fuck is going
What
on?
is happening, right?
What is going on right now?
I
It's
mean, there is
so
this.
crazy.
There does seem to be this resurgence of body horror as well. We had
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Substance shortly in 2024.
Yes.
We had the
Right.
Substance,
Right.
which was
Right.
another bloody spectacular film. I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
I haven't got to that yet, but I'm really excited to see
Oh,
that. I'm really looking forward
I
to it.
will not spoil it,
Yeah.
but my god, I was blown
Yeah.
away by that.
No, I'm
I
juiced
really
about
was.
everything I saw about that was like, I know, again, people were very good on social media. They talked about it without talking about it. But I was like, yeah, I got.
be careful. It's a nasty.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I got that as well. That's actually why I didn't go and see it at the cinema, because I was like, I think I want to be at home for this one.
Like kind of nauseatingly horrible at
times. Yeah.
But in a good way.
But then, and again, Bring It Back leans right into it. I mean, Bring It Back is definitely low budget, and holy shit, how great is that film? Considering, like, they understood, like, the location is king, right? That house is fucking fantastic space.
It's so. Again, it's that texture, isn't it? It's that feeling of being there, and
the claustrophobia of it, and
the grime,
and you have the geography of it as well in your head, right? It's really clever how the film maps out the geography of the house for you in the opening scene, and it uses the disability of the character to clue you into it. It's really smart filmmaking.
Yeah,
super low budget. Cast you've never heard of. Everyone in the film knocks it. I mean, everyone in the film, there's like 4 people in it, but they knock it out. I was
going to say everyone. Yeah, all 4 of them.
both of them are really good.
Yeah.
But it is, and it's like, and again, it was the fact that it was 3 in a row, and they were all blindingly original as well, and different genres, different themes, different because sometimes you'll get a zeitgeist, right, where you get 2 or 3 movies in a row that are about a specific thing, and they'll generally be. Yeah, there'll generally be one that stands out. And again, it's not a conspiracy. It's just how it's played out.
It's just the way it's done, isn't it? If something is successful, then the studios latch onto it. It's, oh, this is making money now. Let's make more of those. Sometimes it just happens by coincidence. You just happen to have these films being produced at the same time that are about very similar subjects and ideas, and that's what happens.
Sure.
Yeah. But we've got. Coming up, we've got the Long Walk, haven't we?
Oh man! No, I tell you what, the Long Walk, and I'm really excited about the Running Man remake. I'm really excited about that.
Saw the trailer, loved the trailer. I mean,
because that came out of nowhere for me. I was like,
me too. I had no idea. I didn't even know that was in production, but I saw the trailer when I went to see Weapons, and I was like, ooh, Yes, please.
As soon as I saw, I can't remember the name of the actor, but as soon as I saw the actor playing the guy, the lead character, the running man, and I saw him framed in like an iPhone camera, I was like, oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you get it. That's the point. It's like because making that movie now, I mean,
Oh,
that's the only change you make, right? You just give all the citizens smartphones, and then suddenly, oh yeah, we're living in a surveillance state already. Like,
I was going to say, I mean, if anything, it
fucking
has so much
fantastic.
application now.
Yeah, no, it's so
So
good,
much application. It's a
so
brilliant. I mean,
exciting.
it's a story for our times, isn't it? It
It
really
really
is.
is. And it
So
also does look like it's going to be fun, and I'm all
yeah.
right with that actually. Because the
Oh
Running Man, like the darkness comes out anyway in the subject matter, so it's
yes,
fine for it to be also be
totally.
fun. Like I'm cool with that. And the long walk. I mean,
I mean that has potential to be. I mean that. I mean, if something needs an 18
yeah,
certificate in terms of like the
yeah,
ethos, not
yeah,
the imagery per se, but the ethos of the thing.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that has potential to be vile.
And we've got Mark Hamill as the general. That's super exciting because he was great in
Wow.
like it was great in Life of Chuck.
Yeah. I mean, Mark
Really,
Hamill, I mean, I like him so
I
much.
do. I
I
love
like
him.
him a
I
lot.
love him to
I think
bits. Yeah.
he's definitely become like a better actor as he's gotten older,
100%. Yeah.
which is inevitable, absolutely inevitable. I mean, I think
Yeah.
the longest time, I was more interested in his voice work,
Sure.
but because
Yeah.
he's
I
a
mean, he's
fantastic voice actor. He's a really
he's
cool
the.
voice actor.
I mean, I'm sorry. As much as I love The Dark Knight and will always love The Dark
Hmm.
Knight, like Mark Hamill's the definitive Joker for
Oh, he's
me. He is.
fantastic as the Joker.
He's the essence of the comic book character. Anyway, I think
Yeah.
Ledger created a cinematic Joker that worked,
Hmm.
and that was a different creature. But you listen when I read
Yeah.
classic Batman comics, I hear Hamill
I hear Hamill's
every
voice.
time.
Yeah.
That
He
is the
just
voice of the Joker. He nailed it.
yeah. It's such a brilliant performance as well.
Yeah,
I mean, almost. I mean, it's a shame really because that cartoon, the 1990s Batman, is awash with good performances,
yeah.
but he
It's
tends to
extraordinary.
dominate.
Yeah, he does.
He
Well,
does tend to dominate.
it's well, and he did. But I mean, he's also like it's him on Arkham Asylum, right?
Yeah.
The video game,
And
which
multiple
just
other like products since. I mean,
yeah,
he has
yeah,
become
yeah,
so
yeah.
definitive as the Joker that that's just what people do. They go right,
Sure,
we get Mark Hamill to do it because he is the Joker,
yeah.
basically.
But it's so cool. I mean, I love it in Arkham Asylum because it's a very different model of Joker. Like
Yeah,
the physical model is very different
of
from the
course.
animated series, but it still works because it's Hamill's voice. He
Yeah.
inhabits that performance, and it's yeah, as you say. I think he's also the Joker in Arkham City and all the sequels.
Yes.
But I was just thinking of Asylum because I picked up the remaster recently, so I've started playing that again.
I do remember playing that for the first time. It was like it was the kind of thing where I wasn't that interested in it, and then my friend
Yeah,
Ray said, "No, pick it up.
oh, it's such a good game.
You need to watch. You need to play this."
Yeah,
And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine. I'll kind of reluctantly, I was like, okay,
yeah.
fine." And I think I finished it in a day.
Oh, it's so
I
good.
just I
I mean,
couldn't put it down.
I think we talked about it when we talked about Arkham Asylum and
Hmm.
Dark Knight Returns. I think we
Hmm.
mentioned the game and we touched on it then. But it's just, and again, I'm playing it again now just for, and I genuinely love. It's a great Batman story. It just
Yeah,
is like it's a
and
brilliant Batman versus the
it's
Joker story.
it's also a great game. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
it
the
is.
first
It
time
really is.
I remember like because I was sort of texting Ray throughout, and I was like, "God, I feel like Batman."
Yes,
That's the thing. I
absolutely.
felt like playing that game.
Yeah,
You feel like Batman. You feel stealthy and predatory and
yeah,
strong.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a fantastic emulation of
Yeah,
being
it's
that
so great.
character. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
the bits I like the most are the bits with the
the
scarecrow
scarecrow
gas.
sequences. Yeah, yeah, the fear
Woof.
gas. It's so great.
Whoa.
So great.
The
But
corridor
that's what's
where
so great about it.
it keeps distorting and you keep
Yeah,
coming out in the same place and it's like, oh my
yeah,
god, what is happening? What is going
and
on?
yeah. No, I love that. I mean, video games can do impossible spaces, but they almost never
Yes.
do. I love that. I love that. And
When they
again, the
do,
context of it works. Yeah,
I
so
mean, there
good.
are certain horror games that do it, and oh my god,
Yeah,
it's the Silent Hill 2 remake
right.
plays with that like you wouldn't believe,
Yeah,
and it's so
it's
good.
so disorienting, isn't it? It's great.
Okay. Alan Wake 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my god. stuff that does with physical space
Okay.
is unreal. It's unreal
Right.
because I mean, half of the game you play the writer Alan Wake, and there's this whole metaphysics where he can, to a degree, rewrite reality around himself. So you can alter the
Cool.
reality by altering like story ideas on a storyboard,
Right.
and it's like, wow, it physically changes around you, and it's incredible. It's incredible. But yeah,
Nice.
video games are uniquely placed for that kind of experience, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was always a thing. I mean, I remember playing like early game. I mean, I remember playing Duke Nukem 3D, and
Yeah,
it felt subversive when you could blow a hole in the side of the
yeah.
theater if you had the rocket
Well,
launcher. I was like, wow,
that was that just didn't
that was
happen.
cool.
That didn't happen
Exactly.
back then. Destructible terrain where you could like make holes
Yeah.
in walls, and that just it was so far out there. It was so advanced at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Um,
playing System Shock 2 at the moment, the remastered version,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's such a trip down memory lane. So much has happened since 1999
Right. Right.
in terms of video games and horror. But it's so
Yeah.
interesting to see how influential it's been.
Yeah. I might have to pick that one up because I finally played through Until Dawn, which I had a blast with. I thought that was really
It's good
fun.
fun, right? Good fun.
It was just like playing a teen slasher
Yeah,
movie, and I thought that
it's
was
a homage,
nicely,
isn't it? It's a lovely
yeah,
homage
definitely.
to like the teen slashers of the early to mid '90s. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a really good time. I mean, it's not, it's not a game that I'm going to spend a ton of time on, but that's not the point. Like it was
No.
the experience it was designed to do, it did quite well. But I
Hmm.
think, yeah, horror video games at the moment, it just always hit me like, again, like thinking about that Duke Nukem moment, just thinking like, wait a minute, you could do anything if you
Yeah.
wanted to, but they never do. And then of course it's so, like you say, it's so disconcerting and exciting when they actually do play with
When
that
they
stuff. So I'm
actually
glad it's
do it,
yeah,
yeah. There's a lot of stuff like the indie horror. Again, like a lot of horror, the indie
sure,
market is where it's at.
yeah,
And
yeah,
there's
yeah,
some stuff that some of the more independent games do that is it's so sophisticated, it's so
mm,
insane. I mean, and a lot of it derives from games like System Shock. I mean, people forget System Shock.
sure,
Yeah, it's from an established studio, Looking Glass, but they weren't big.
yeah,
They weren't massive. I mean,
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely.
um, but
It was a
that game, oh my god,
yeah,
it's so good. It's so good. Interestingly, it's brought playing it again. I mean, I've played through that game so much since I was a teenager, but playing it again, it's made because this is just a remaster, so it is the original game. They've just sort of like
sure.
touched it up a little bit.
Yeah, it just looks prettier.
It
Yeah,
just looks prettier, yeah. And there's a few little tweaks and things added in here and there, but nothing major. This makes me want like a wholesale remake of it
right.
because I mean, they couldn't do it at the time, but one of the things the game sets up is this ambiguity about the many, the parasitic worms and whatnot,
Sure.
where it's like, it doesn't sound that bad. You
Right.
know,
Right.
given the
Right.
dystopia in which you're operating, where these fucking companies own everything and humanity is totally fucking expendable,
Sure.
the many sounds all right whenever it talks to you, because the many speaks to you, it collectively, psychically talks to you. It's always in terms of seduction, and it talks
Mm,
about how you will lose your individuality, but it will be glorious. You'll become one of a you will sing with many voices, you will think with many minds, you will become part of a
mm,
collective. Um, you will be endlessly mutable. We will reshape you into something beautiful, and then we'll reshape you again and again, and you'll be able to think more, and you'll be able to feel more, and you'll be more connected to other life forms than you have could ever dream of being. And it's like,
yeah.
take them back to Earth. It's like, yeah, do it. you
Yeah.
know. But because the game, I mean, obviously they were operating under certain constraints, so you don't get that option. They are bad
Sure.
guys, and you have to fight them, and you have to defeat them. I would love to see a remake where you get that option, where you get,
Mm,
you can upgrade with sort of organic stuff, and
sure.
side with the many, rather than ultimately having to side with Showdown, who's going to fuck you over anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, there's a lot of things that's potentially a metaphor for, right?
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's the other thing, right? I
yeah.
mean, it's so fat, and the game knows. The game is so aware of the ideas that it's playing with. It
Yeah.
knows that this is like a corporate dystopia, an oligarchy that they're
Sure.
fast, and it's not necessarily. I mean, it's set in a cyberpunk futuriscape, but it's not really talking about that. It's talking about what's going on now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
many are like they represent a potential revolution where all of
Right,
the evils of history can be undone. You know,
right.
if those worms manage to get back to Earth and they manage to absorb all the biomass of Earth and reconfigure the ecosystems of the planet, then things like climate change and pollution and whatnot would be gone.
Sure.
It'd be over. You know, um, inequality of all kinds would just end because everything would be part of the same system, ultimately part of the same mind. There's something very seductive and very attractive about it. You know, when
I
you
mean, it's
find
interesting because
the
it sounds
logs.
like, yeah, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, 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 go on.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like. I mean, I'm thinking of this just purely because I was in Berlin like
Mhm,
about a week ago, and I spent quite a lot of time in the East Berlin section for various reasons. It's where a lot of the more interesting history is. Um, but it, a lot of what you described there, although it's inflected very differently, but
mhm.
and this must have been what was in the designers' minds. It's very evocative of what the Soviet propaganda looked like,
Absolutely, yeah.
right? Which is very much about like instead of the capitalist fascists, you
Mhm.
can live in a workers' utopia where
Yeah.
whether you're a farmer or a doctor or whatever,
Mhm,
like your work is valued and
mhm.
everything is interconnected, and we are an organic structure building towards one shining workers' utopian future, right? And it's
That is
like,
absolutely it. That is
yeah,
absolutely what they're going for. Because, of
yeah,
course, Shodan represents the opposite. He's
yeah,
singularity. She's a product. She is absolutely a product of capitalism and the ultimate
yeah,
expression of it at its most self destructive and psychotic and nihilistic.
yeah.
Um, so you
Because
have her
it's
ranged against the many. It makes
right.
ideologically, it's playing with very particular ideas.
But
Um,
the nice thing about that is like in the metaphor of like East Berlin, West Berlin, it is kind of like whoever wins, we lose, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's the thing
right.
that's kind of great. And that's maybe System Shock 2 is like recreating that in a way,
I
because
think
it's
so.
like
I think
these are
so.
these are competing totalitarian
Mhm.
ideologies, but actually they're kind of equally destructive in terms
Yeah.
of, but yeah, anyway,
Mhm.
yeah, it's interesting.
It's
Yeah, it's
fascinating,
interesting
isn't
to
it?
think about.
It
Yeah.
is. I mean, and it's at the. I mean, the. I don't know whether it's a matter of the writing or what, but it doesn't necessarily do the best job of portraying the many as the bad guys that it wants to. You know,
I don't know. Well,
especially
maybe, yeah,
especially
maybe it's just
ranged
that.
against Shodan. I mean,
Right, right,
Shodan is just the worst. You
right.
know, she makes no bones about the fact. Oh yeah, I'm going to wipe out humanity. Fuck humanity. You know,
Yeah,
I'm a goddess. I can do what I want, and humanity
right.
disgusts me.
Sure.
But no, it's a
Yeah.
brilliant game. It is. I'm enjoying it so much. Revisiting it now, um,
Mm,
as a I mean as a historical artifact in many respects.
absolutely. Yeah.
You know, that's it's fascinating going back and how much you remember. I remember codes from the doors and stuff like that, and it's
Sure.
shocked me.
Sure.
It surprised me. I've gotten to doors that are locked. Oh, I know the code for this.
Right.
It's like, where did
Yeah.
that come from?
Yeah, that's a very strange thing when you revisit. I mean, I had that, it's a very different experience, but I had that revisiting in the immediate passing of Ozzy. I went back to the album Blizzard of Oz, which was his
Mhm.
first solo album for me too, because I've been listening to Sabbath for weeks anyway because of the
Yeah,
concert. So I
understandable.
was
Yeah.
I was very much in a Sabbath frame of mind. But I thought, you know what, I don't know Ozzy solo stuff as well. So any kind of tribute, I'll listen to. And
Mhm.
I'd owned a copy of that on cassette when I was like 13 or something like
Uh-huh.
that, and I'd had it for a few years. And I never bought it on CD, and I never. So it had been 20 plus years since I'd listened to Blizzard of Oz, and my memory of it was I didn't like it that much either.
All right.
And I put it back on. I was
Uh-huh.
listening to it, and I was like, I knew every word.
Yeah. Right.
I knew every note of the guitar solo. It was like, Jesus, I must have listened to this a lot more than I
Uh-huh.
remembered. And I feel much more fondly towards it now than I did at the
Yeah.
time. I mean, I understand, like, I kind of unpicked what my teenage criticisms were of it, but like,
Mm.
yeah, but it was a weird experience of like something that you've been away from that long. And like,
Uh-huh.
you're talking to the guy who wrote My Life in Horror. This is not an unfamiliar
Right.
experience to me, but
Right.
I still get surprised every now and then.
It,
And it's a
yeah.
nice feeling to have that. And Blizzard of Oz was a great one. I was just like, holy shit, I know this. I
Mhm.
actually fucking know this record. I know what song's next. I know the words. I know, this is weird. And I haven't thought about it in a decade, no, 2 decades, easily.
It's
wild,
somewhere, right? It's somewhere. It's
right?
stored
Exactly.
away. Those
And
impressions are stored
and
somewhere.
yeah,
It's
and it sounds like you're having exactly the same thing, right? With System
very
Shock, where
much,
it's like, oh
very
yeah, and
much.
I know the code for this door. I remember that, and then
Yeah.
it's like, how the fuck do I remember that?
I know the solution to this puzzle. I know where to get the
Yeah,
keys and whatnot. It's like,
yeah,
I was 19, It's like,
right.
this is insane. This is insane.
But
This was like the first game I played on my PC ever.
yeah. Well, and also in my case, particularly, it's like, oh, I remember every guitar solo, every note in the guitar solo of like Crazy Train or I don't know. Like, okay, good. And what did you have for dinner last night again?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Fucking
It's
crickets. I don't mean I ate crickets. I mean as a
no,
noise
no,
because I don't know. Like it's like fucking hell, man. Like
yeah,
what is
the
going on?
mind. It's a very
Yeah,
peculiar thing, isn't it? And
weird that
it's
we have to live here, right? Like,
yeah. I become more fascinated the older I get.
yeah,
And also, doing a psychology degree at the moment, that's also
sure.
inspired a little bit of
Oh,
introspection. I mean,
yeah,
it's certainly inspired me to get a therapist. I can tell you.
yeah.
It's
It's useful.
something you do. It's something you do.
Absolutely.
Everybody does it, apparently.
Yep.
Almost everybody who studies this, it's like, yeah, no, everybody needs therapy. Everybody
Yeah,
needs
yeah.
therapy.
I'm just
In any sane society, in any sane structure,
yeah,
we would
yeah,
have assigned to us a therapist, a counselor, in the same way we have a GP. You
yeah,
know, it would just
yeah.
be a
And you
thing.
because you just when you start digging into that because it's that thing again it's that thing about information and knowledge, right? Like
Mm.
you can go around in ignorance, of course. It will
Mhm.
cause you problems, but you can do it. But once you start digging, it's very hard to stop. I
It's
think
hard to keep. Yeah, it really is.
you
And it's one of those fundamental things as well. Once you understand, once you start down that journey of like, what is my mind?
mm,
What shape does it take and why? That's it.
yeah,
You're done. That will be a lifelong thing. And I mean, it's one of those things where there's no answer. There's no definitive answer, but
sure,
you can postulate, you can start to consider what makes you what you are.
yeah,
That, and that's fundamental. That is it's the basis of the examined life, isn't it? It needs to happen. You
yeah,
need to do it. I mean, it's part of the human experience. And if you don't, and you like, you reach, I don't know, like the age of 50 and you're the same as you were when you were 16, well, maybe you haven't done what you should have done with
yeah.
it.
How much living have you done at that point? And
Mm.
it's the thing. I don't know. I mean, you know, it, I think we sometimes overestimate the degree to which we are separate from the animal kingdom as opposed to a
Mhm.
part of it. I think largely we are a part of it, and
Oh, yeah.
we do a lot better if we acknowledge that more often and we thought more of ourselves as animals. But we do have the capacity for self-reflection. That is
Exactly.
one of the questionable gifts of consciousness, but it's definitely
Hmm.
a part of the package.
Yeah.
If you don't fucking use it,
What's the
like
point? I mean,
what's the point,
you
right?
actually may as well be one of
Right,
those creatures that's, these
right.
ephemeral things that are effectively like little meat robots, that just
Yeah,
perform their
yeah,
function.
yeah.
And that's
And
it. They have their span and they die, and that's it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's all consuming. I find
yeah.
it's completely all consuming, and it's
And
sometimes
also like,
disturbing, and it's sometimes
yeah,
upsetting, and it's
sure.
profound, and it's traumatic, and it recontextualizes everything. I mean, that's the other thing, right?
I say as well, like once in a blue moon as well, you'll come across something and you'll realize it's bullshit, and that's healthy
Mm,
as well. Like
that's
there are
good.
bits of it where you're like, no, no, but like, yeah, it's funny because kiddos doing it at GCSE.
Oh, is she? Did they do like
Yeah,
psychology at GCSE level now? Fucking hell!
apparently, yeah. Sometimes I was
Wow.
impressed.
God,
Yeah,
we had to
I
do.
mean,
They would only allow us to do that at A level.
yeah, no, I had the nearest I could get to it was sociology, which is
Yeah.
obviously not the same. I mean, it's nowhere, it's dimly related, but it's nowhere
Yeah.
near the same thing, right?
Hmm.
But no, she's doing something, and I mean, for me, one of the side effects for it, just her, is like she's spontaneously the other day started talking to me about advertising, just like you
Yeah.
understand how this works. And I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, kinda, but tell me more, and it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, and again, that goes back to like we are animals,
Oh yeah.
and we
Oh yeah.
are, we respond to stimulus,
Oh,
and
I mean,
people who understand that stuff very, very well are paid an awful lot of money to
yes. Well, I
make our
mean,
brains work a certain way. You know what I mean?
this
Like,
is it, right? I mean, if you do need like a utilitarian reason to do it,
Yeah.
it gives you the tools to, and actually
Right.
there are other things that do this as well. I mean, like English, studying English will give you this as well.
Yeah.
Literature,
To a degree.
studying
Yeah.
literature, if it gives you the means to identify and understand narrative when it's being used in a manipulative manner. So you'll be able to identify when someone's bullshitting you effectively. Not, not in the sense that you can tell when someone's lying, but you will be able to identify if something sounds too narratively good to be true, or too simplistic, or if they're trying to use like a message to manipulate you emotionally. Then you'll be able to
Yeah.
identify and pick it apart, and also to understand your own reactions, to examine your own reactions. Why is it that I respond this way to this stimulus, or to this
Yeah.
situation? Where does that come from?
Yeah. No, it's
Why?
super helpful. It's super helpful. And I mean, anything you can do to get a handle on giving you a better chance of evaluating truth claims. I mean, grab it with
Yeah.
both hands,
Oh,
because that's a
that's
survival skill right
it's
now.
increasingly so, right?
Yeah.
That is going to become invaluable
Yeah.
in years. I mean, it's already true. I mean, like, the internet is awash with it. The internet is awash with bullshit. I mean, like, the
Yeah.
ones that I always use as an example when I'm talking to people, those videos that crop up on TikTok and on Facebook where it's an animal, and the way it's framed, the animal is doing something or reacting in such a way that it looks like it's acting in a narrative way, in like a human way,
Yeah.
and it's like, I'm sorry, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's total
Yeah.
horse shit, you know? A really good example, there was one of a husky that was howling next to a baby, and the caption said something like, um, "Oh, the dog is singing to the baby." And I was like, "No, it's not. It's being territorial.
Right.
It's
Right.
like it's trying to assert itself. I would get that dog away from that baby right now." You know? It's like
Yeah.
the way that narrative, it's being narratively reframed to appeal to sentiment,
Yep.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
produce a
Yeah.
particular effect. Yeah,
And I mean, that's a key trait of fascist propaganda in particular
so
that we
is.
do not talk about enough.
No,
The
you're
appeal to
absolutely right.
sentiment is ingrained in what they
Oh,
do,
it's
and it is
part of fascism.
an exploitation of what is often a very healthy, natural human emotional reaction, and it is a brutal and calculated
Mm.
exploitation of sentiment to manipulate us into accepting the unacceptable. And it's like, yeah, if you don't, like, even if you know that, you can still get caught up in it in
Oh,
the
you
moment,
could
and
totally.
you have to take that step back. But if you don't fucking know that, and a
Mhm.
lot of people don't, like, what chance has anybody got?
It's sort of true on the micro level as well. So one of the
Yeah.
things I warn people about when we're talking about like potential abusers and whatnot, people who are
Hmm.
problematic, look on their internet feeds, look on their Facebook and their socials, and if it's full of that sort of like received sentiment, that prescribed
Yeah.
sentiment where they've got like captions that are in particular fonts and they're surrounded by doves and flowers, and it's all this live, love,
Yeah.
stuff, be fucking wary of them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Honestly, I'm not even
Yeah.
being glib or sarcastic.
No, no.
Honestly, be careful of them,
You
because
know what you're
that
reminding me of?
is
Like, go on, yeah.
superficial. It's
Yeah,
superficial,
exactly.
it's aesthetic, and it's trying to mask, it's trying to put forward a perspective, you know?
Yeah, it's a projection, isn't it?
It's a
Yeah.
projection, yeah, absolutely. And yet that begs the question, what are they trying to mask? What's underneath?
Yeah.
Why are they trying
And
to cultivate this impression of themselves?
yeah, exactly. Because no one's interiority is like that. Everyone's
I
interiority is more
I
complicated
don't
than
want
that.
I don't ever want to meet the person
Right.
who
But you know what
thinks
you
and
reminded me
feels
of?
like that.
I know it's an observation that we've made before on the show, but like in other episodes, but like I think it it's that site. I mean, this is why Stephen King's still as good as he is, right? Like the psychological insight, King's version of that. His biggest villains are always the ones that don't
That
swear,
don't swear. Yeah, exactly. They
right?
have this like sort of like mumsy homeliness
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah,
this,
yeah,
and again it's sentiment, isn't it? It's the play act of
yeah,
love and of affection and of connection without it being
yeah.
sincere or real.
Because it's the facsimile of humanity versus actual
Yeah.
humanity. And
Because
anyone
that's
who's
what they
working that
understand.
hard on it, yeah.
This is it, because they don't understand anything else, right? They
Well,
don't
no,
feel, they don't like genuinely feel the connection or the
because
affection for other people.
Well, this is it, right? So I'm one of the things that's happening at the moment is I'm rewatching Handmaid's Tale with Kiddo
Yeah.
because
Oh wow.
she's finally decided she wants to, and it's great. I mean, we're having a lot of very interesting conversations as a
Yeah.
result of stories. But there's a scene in that early on in season one where the commander is talking to June, who's the handmaid, and there's a point where she says, "What about trying to make things better?" And he says, "It's never better for everyone. Better for someone is always worse for someone else." And you're
Mm,
like, okay. And then she says the follow up line, though, this is the best bit for me. The follow up line, she says, "What about love?" And he laughs, and then he looks her in
yeah.
the eye and he says, love isn't real.
Ah,
Love is just lust with a good PR team."
ooh.
And you'd like, if that's your worldview,
Yeah.
then everything that you do makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. I mean, if you don't understand the reality
yeah,
of that, then where are you? Like as a in terms
right,
of your
exactly.
identity, emotionally, where are you?
Right. And this
Um,
is where I come round to like, the kind of, this is why I love the kind of the thing that Chuck Tingle's always doing with this like love is real thing and the
mhm,
mask and all that kind of stuff. It's like, and this kind of bizarre, hilarious kind of erotica he's doing alongside, by the way, some just straight up brilliant
yeah.
mainstream horror work. I
Hmm.
mean, if you're listening to this, you haven't read Bury a Gaze yet, fucking go
Yeah,
and read
he's
Bury a Gaze.
very
It's
good.
fantastic.
Hmm.
It's one of the best horror novels I read like the year it came. Fucking
Hmm.
brilliant. But his whole love is real thing, like it's one of those things where on the surface that looks like the kind of hallmarky tropey, but then you dig in on what he's really saying, and it's like, no, this is about understanding the core of humanity. This is about not shying away from that. It's
Oh,
about standing up
absolutely.
for that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
And
it's
it's like,
it's that whole
okay,
thing of content as well as form, right? This is the
exactly,
thing, right? It
exactly.
has what Chuck's doing. It has meaning, it has purpose, and it has
Yes,
sincerity. He feels it, he
absolutely.
thinks it genuinely. It's not a manipulation.
Yeah. And that's the thing I love about what he's doing. Is it's like it's interesting. Like the line that was in the Superman movie was like, um, maybe kindness is punk rock, which I think is
Hmm.
a great line. Like in
Yeah.
2025, like that's
Yeah,
a
isn't
pretty
it
good line
just? Isn't it just?
for Superman to say, like, yeah, okay, dude, I'm with you on that. But like that for me is like the word you said there. That's the thing. It's like for Chuck Tingle, like, and it's a weird thing to say about someone who calls themselves Dr. Chuck Tingle, world's greatest author, puts on a voice, wears a mask all the time. But like, actually, his real selling point is sincerity.
It's sincerity, yeah.
And that's his superpower. Actually,
Hmm.
is his sincerity, and it works. Like, and it means that he's had a completely uncompromised indie career, and now he's having an equally uncompromised mainstream horror writer career.
Yeah.
And I think in real life he's a screenwriter too, or in his other
Yeah.
life, whatever you want to call it. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure, like, because when you read Bury a Gaze, it's like there's no way this guy has not worked in Hollywood. There is no
Yeah.
fucking way this guy. This is too well researched. This is
Hmm.
someone who's actually been on the other side of some of these conversations. But like, yeah, it's so fucking cool
Yeah.
to see that out there and to see like, and this is, I circle back to this. I said this when I launched Millionaires Day last year, but I think it's
Yeah.
more true with every passing year. Like, fiction is the last place we have where we can sometimes actually tell the truth.
I think so. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's one
Um,
of the great last bastions, isn't it? And it's
yeah,
often the most effective. It's the
yeah,
last great weapon, ironically,
yeah, and
fittingly
that's
enough.
fittingly enough, and that's why it's so fucking great that we're seeing these, movies like this getting made still in 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, actually getting made more, right?
Yeah,
More
right.
of them,
As
more
though it's like a
diversity in them.
reaction, right? It's like a
Yeah,
reaction, an upsurge to
yeah,
all of the crap and the filth and the sludge, the grey goo,
yeah.
the
The grey goo,
cultural
right?
goo.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it's almost like that's what's happening, and it's like, it's so brilliant that
It
it will
is.
out. Truth will out, right? Truth will
That's
always
it.
out in one way, shape, or form. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I think the same is true of things related to truth, so beauty and,
Yeah,
pleasure, all of these things, which are their own arguments, right? They're fundamentally
yeah.
true. Love, you know, all of this stuff will out. It will find its way out. It will find expression, even in the worst of times.
And it's worth fighting for. It's worth fighting for
Yeah.
internally, and it's worth fighting for out in the world too. Like,
Oh
it's
my
worth
gosh.
fighting for your own capacity to love in the face of
Mm.
cynicism, and fighting fiercely to protect other people's right to love in
Oh
whatever
yeah.
way they want to, right?
Well,
Like,
it is correct. It becomes an act of rebellion, doesn't it? It
right,
becomes a
really does.
punkish act, you know.
And again, that's where Chuck's been for the last. Took me a little while to catch up to what he was doing, but that's where
Mm,
Chuck's been the whole time. It's like, yeah, love is real. That's a fucking punk rock statement in
yeah.
2025.
I
Punk as fuck.
remember. I mean, I remember coming across his stuff initially, and it was the really silly sort of like
Like
pseudo.
space raptor butt
Yeah,
invasion or whatever. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
so
yeah,
funny,
yeah,
so goddamn funny.
yeah.
But no, I
But
mean,
yeah,
wow. Anyway, kids. I mean, yeah,
dude.
weapons, right? Yeah, freaking
Oh my
hell,
god.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, guys. I mean, you shouldn't be listening to this if you haven't seen it, for God's sake.
Not really, because we
But
kind of spoiled it, but
yeah,
except we
like
didn't. It's so fucking
massively,
good.
because it's so. But it is so good. Honestly,
Yeah,
I mean, I still think, even if you've listened and taken on board every spoiler, everything we've said here, I think you'll probably get just a blast out of it. It's such a good
yeah,
film. I
yeah,
th- I think
absolutely.
I think this is a film we're going to be talking about 10 years, 20 years. It's going to be referenced. I think this is a classic. I think it's something that's going
Yeah,
to be a benchmark for a good long while.
yeah. I mean, I think so. I hope that it. I mean, this is a guy who did Barbarian, which is a film I haven't
Mm.
seen, but I know. Again, some people it was a bit of a Marmite movie. Some
Yeah,
people were very impressed
Barbarian's
with
very
it.
Marmite. It is very Marmite.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because there's a rug pull in that is like,
Okay.
what the
Okay.
fuck?
Sure.
It really, like, and it's very Marmite. It
Sure. But
is, it is.
I'm I definitely am interested in seeing what weapon. I mean, hopefully, weapons will give this guy, more opportunity to make bigger films and
Oh,
more films. Because
it's been very successful. It has
yeah,
been very
yeah,
successful. So I can't imagine that he won't be going on to do bigger things, more things.
sure.
Um, oh my God, what is it he's writing? There's something. Oh God, I remember I was watching an interview and he is writing something huge for like a big franchise. What the fuck was
Oh,
it?
really?
I'm gonna go.
Interesting.
I'm gonna have to have a look. I can't remember
Sure,
what it
sure.
was, but there is something big coming up, like in the pipeline. Nowhere near, like nowhere near complete yet, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there is something.
That's cool.
I can't remember what it is, but I'm sure, having seen his work, it's gonna
Mm,
be really interesting.
yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's really fucking cool. And again, also for me, the fact that it's happening in the context of these other films, which maybe we'll do longer comment. I mean, certainly
Go
if
for
you
it.
want to come back and talk about, if you want to come back and talk about Bring Her Back, I definitely think
Mm.
we could get
Oh yeah.
we could get a full length conversation
Oh
out of that
yeah.
film because there's shitloads going on there that was, and again, I mean, Together, I have less to say, I think, about Together, but it's great. It's
It's a
really good.
it's a great film. I would say it's lighter than these other two in its
Yeah,
own
I
weird
agree.
way. Um,
Um,
very like unsettling visually. There's a lot of really
yeah,
moments in that.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
But really, again, really smart, really funny, really well
Smart,
put together. The
wonderfully
acting's
sincere, right?
beautiful.
Really
Yeah,
brilliant because they are a couple, aren't they? Like
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
James Franco and oh, I can't remember
Oh,
her name.
Alison
Yes,
Brie.
they are actually a couple, aren't they? So
I didn't know
it's
that, but that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So there's
That's
like this
cute.
whole layer going on there. There's this
Sure, sure.
whole thing happening there. No, it's a very interesting film. Again,
Yeah.
ideas driven, like really powerfully ideas
Yes.
driven.
Absolutely. And I love that. I love that people are having these like really proper wild ideas and just saying it,
Mm,
whether it's like, I mean, whether with weapons, the wildness comes from like the formal structural play and
yeah,
the way that interacts with the story, or whether with a film like Together, it's the conceit, like the
it's
central conceit,
conceptual, isn't it? Yeah, it's
right? But
conceptual. Yeah,
like it's just so fucking exciting to
yeah.
see. And again, especially with horror, like I wrote a piece for the Full Lid over the summer, and I was writing about 28 years later and Clown in a Cornfield, and what was the other film? The Last Final Destination, Bloodlines, right?
Oh yes,
And
of
then, by
course.
the way, all three of them good films. Like
Yeah.
I really enjoyed all three, but it's weird how like all three were franchise movies. Or I
Mm,
mean, Clown felt like it was trying to be part one of a franchise.
yes.
I know that the other books are written, and it certainly you get to the end of Clown and Cornfield, and you're like, okay, well, they're set up for part two if this one makes any money. They could film the sequel quite easily.
Yeah.
But this, for me, like that, and again, it's not no disrespect. I enjoyed all three of those movies. I enjoyed watching and writing them. But then to come to this point in the summer, like at the end of the summer holidays, and suddenly there's three blindingly original, relatively low budget horror movies coming out of nowhere and all hitting at the same time. And they all hit. I mean, they all hit so fucking hard. All three of those movies at what they're trying to do, right? Like,
it
so
is.
great.
It's a strange. So great. I mean, I can't recall ever experiencing this. Where there's there's so much where you're having to like make time because you so desperately want to go and see these things.
Yeah, no, this is it. You're right, and like you're saying, like we've got the long walk coming up for sure. I think
that's a must. I've got to go and see it at the cinema.
No,
I
definitely.
Will probably take my mom to see that.
Because,
it's a king, and it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. And and I, a lot of hopes for the Running Man. It looks like, because again, with Running Man, what I love about it is it looks like it's one of those that if they've done it the way I hope they've done it, it's going to play brilliantly on two levels. And like it'll be, you know what I mean? Like it could be like if you want the kind of Robocop thrills and spills, you've got that. But if you want the Robocop politics, that'll be there too.
I think it has the potential to be really contentious. I think it has the potential to really upset like the right people. So, and I hope it does. I really hope it does. Like, I hope it makes them angry. I hope it really hurts,
Well, yeah, both of them, right? The Running Man and Long Walk. I think the reason I'm so excited about the Running Man in particular, I mean, the Long Walks are, it's always going to be dear to my heart. I'm really glad they're making it, and I'm excited for it. But I think for me, with the Running Man, it looks like there's a potential for some kind of criticism of like the role of the media and all of this shit as well. And I'd like that is, it is so underplayed, that because the media make films, so you can't, you know what I mean? Like it's really fucked up. But like, it's one of the lines of complicity I find incredibly frustrating.
It's particularly true here, of course, in the UK, where they make our ministers. They decide. Ultimately the media decide who's going to be prime minister and who's not.
Well, especially with the conservative ideological capture of the BBC in the last 5 years. It's really.
I think I'm done with the BBC.
I
am done. I've had. I think it's. I mean, it's another conversation, but I think it's.
Sure.
I'm getting to the point where I think it's unsalvageable,
I mean, it's at this point, it's actively harmful to politics in this country. Like it is actively damaging to politics in this country. The way it's framing debates, the way it's allowing debates to be framed, however you cut it, it's just not, and it's not.
It's not doing platforming.
It's not. Yeah, it's not doing its fucking job.
No, it's not. It absolutely isn't. But that is definitely a conversation for it, because that's a big one. Another time.
Let's maybe not open that can of worms at like 11 o'clock.
Before we go, before we go, would you like? Is there anything you want to chuck out there?
Yeah. So, what do I want to talk about? I guess I can talk about this. I've signed the contract. So, new book coming out.
Excellent.
We're aiming for a mid-October release, and this will be another non-fiction tome. So, Exploring the Labyrinth, Volume 1. The complete works of Brian Keene. So this is the essay series I started several years ago, and it's now running on the website Uncomfortably Dark. But it's basically the first. So this is volume 1 of Exploring the Labyrinth. So it's the first 30 Brian Keene novels / novellas in the order of release. And the thing that makes it a fun read, I hope, is that it's not a book written by a long-term fan, but someone who has come to Keene for the first time. So this is so it's my first time read of all of the books. So you're getting, obviously I'm a horror fan, but it's a first impression set of essays rather than a kind of super fan. Like if I was going to do the King book, it would be totally different. But
different feeling, right? Different ethos completely.
And I'm, frankly, I'm hoping that'll be the selling point for the series. I hope that kind of, for fans of Keene, I hope they'll enjoy, a fresh perspective coming to the work and engaging with it honestly and openly and having fun with it. So that'll be coming out mid-October with French Press, who are the people who publish Millionaire's Day. So look out for that. It's not ready to pre-order yet, but look out for it. I'm also, can I announce that? No, I can't.
I can't do that one yet.
All right, what I'm going to say is that this year is the 10th anniversary of God Bomb.
Is it?
Yeah, God Bomb came out 10 years ago. Actually, 10 years ago this month, I think. And I have some very, very exciting news that I cannot share yet about God and the fact that it is currently out of print. And that's really all I can say. But it's exciting. And if you want to be the first to know what I'm blathering on about when I'm actually allowed to talk to about it, then go to patreon.com/kitpower and sign up. You can sign up for free, and if you do that, you'll get access to my newsletter, which is it's not even monthly at the moment, so you won't get it very often, but it will give you information about what I'm up to and what's going on and recent publications. And it's the first place to hear news like the news I didn't just tell you because I can't. So sign up there. Obviously, if you want to contribute more, $1 a month will actually get you access to something new every week. And there is tons of stuff going up there at the moment. The last couple of essays in the Brian Keane book I just mentioned, they're going up on the Patreon in the next week or two. So you can catch up with that series there. I'm serializing the screenplay I wrote for my novella, The Finite, as well. So you're getting access to that. And there's also a lot of podcasts. Some of it's early access, some of it's exclusive. My Sherlock Holmes podcast is finally back for season 2. And the only place you can get that is my Patreon. And it's also early access to the Bruce Springsteen show that I'm doing with James. Although, again, this weekend we're going to release a Patreon exclusive where James and I discuss Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, and the legacy of their music. So, you get something new every week, and it's a real range. There's fiction, there's screenplays, there's essays, there's podcasts. It's a good time. So,
there's a lot of stuff. There is a lot of stuff. By the way, guys, links to all of this below in the description. As for myself, same as usual. You can find me here on Exaggerated Elegy, currently doing, oh my god, there's lots going on actually. Hannibal Digested has come back, which is really cool. Loving that. Oh god, watching it again, Kit.
Superb. Yeah.
Watching it again. It's the first watch the episodes I was meant to watch, then I just kept going.
It's the good stuff. I mean,
ridiculous. What are you gonna do? Ridiculous. Yeah. You're talking about addiction. That's about right. There's going to be we're actually heading towards the season now, but around October there's going to be a new series of the Spooktober series, the Not the Same Log series that I do with Jack and Elliot. So we're doing sci-fi horror this season. There's going to be a lot of stuff. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Playing System Shock 2, obviously, and Doom, actually, the original Doom, going through all of it. All of it, Kit. It's so huge. There's so much stuff. There's a lot. With all of the add-ons and the mods and Doom 2. Sure. It's a lot, but it's fun. I'm really enjoying it.
That's cool.
As for my published work, you can find me over at strangeplaygrounds.com. And if you go to Amazon and type in George Daniel Lee, you'll find my Amazon author page. And there's quite a lot of stuff there now, more than I remember. I went and looked at it and was like, I don't remember being published in that. What story was in that? There's more there than I thought. Of course, My Life in Horror is ongoing over at gingernutsofhorror.com. There's 2 essays to go up, one on System Shock 2 and one on Weaveworld, Clive Barker's Weaveworld. That's huge, by the way.
You're going to need to buy a bigger monitor to read that one.
I do apologize. I go on.
Never apologize. Never apologize.
I do go
on. It's
on.
love, man. It's good.
Because it's the best book ever written. Possibly.
Well,
You've got Robocop. I've got Weaveworld.
Sure, that's fair. We can both be right. That's the beauty of that.
That's the beauty of it, right? If you go to Arrow Films, I mean, first of all, there's Kit and I on the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment UHD and Blu-ray set. We're on the Hellbound disc in Hell Is What They Wanted. It's an hour and 48 minutes, Kit. We chat about Hellraiser and Barker and queer horror fiction and all sorts of stuff. There's also the new In the Mouth of Madness UHD set, and I'm also on that in the... There's an add-on, not an add-on, no, I'm thinking in video game terms here still for some reason. There's an extra on the DVD and it's entitled We Are What He Writes. It's not as big as the Hellraiser chat, but it was a fun little addition. And there's also an essay in the insert booklet that I wrote called God is Not a Hack Horror Writer.
Nice.
Which is fun to write, Sutter Kane fan all the way, and Garth Marenghi and all the other fictional authors out there. And I think, that's it for me at the moment. Kit, man, it's been so nice getting back and catching
it's been a real pleasure, man. It's been a real pleasure. we won't leave it. So, and apologies to the listeners, that is on me.
Oh,
I've had some serious life stuff going on, but we won't leave it as long next time. I promise.
of course,
Yeah,
of course, and of course we will have to get Steve back for the Sons of
Oh
Anarchy.
hell yes, hell yes! Because I need to stop thinking about that show, and the only way out is through.
Is to exercise it. We've got to talk about it, and we're oh my god, I mean, like,
yeah,
wow.
Season 5 is tough. Ooh, it is tough.
Yeah, I'm getting like slight chills,
Yeah,
thinking about what's coming up.
Yeah. No, we're definitely the descent to hell has begun.
Oh yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to us, and until next time, bye bye.
Bye for now.